罗觉慧女士，欢迎您的到来。再一次感谢2位的到场以及对我们本次活动的支持。那么，在我们的活动正式开始之前，我们先给大家来一段让大家嗨起来的活动。就是我感觉到大家现在好像不是很嗨，所以接下来要登场的是我们中国传统文化中最具气势的主角之一——舞龙。鼓声响起，金龙腾跃，象征着力量、好运和胜利的到来。今天下午，它将会给我们的深圳站揭开最热血的序幕。当巨龙盘旋时，请大家大声地喊出你们的加油声，把热情传递给他，好运就会回到你的身边。那么现在，让我们以最热烈的掌声，欢迎来自舞龙团的表演者登场，掌声有请。接下来登场的是来自潮汕的传奇表演——莺歌舞。它不是一般的舞蹈，它融合了武术的力量和戏剧的表现力。每一次击鼓，每一次步伐，都是南国热血的与自信的象征。 让我们把现场交给这群充满能量的舞者，用掌声和欢呼感受最硬核、最燃的传统力量。莺歌舞登场。这2场表演看下来，我感觉已经热血沸腾了，大家觉得呢？嗨起来没有？有。OK， 那接下来就迎来我们今天最重要的环节——深圳站的友谊赛。那么这次比赛我们采用的是 SWC 的模式，一共会有16位选手登场对决。那么第一阶段会有12场的 BO1 对决，第2阶段会有3场的 BO3 对决。那么我们这次像 SWC 一样是没有季军赛的哈。那我们的对阵也由昨天晚上已经抽签出来了。现在让我们以最热烈的掌声欢迎我们来自世界各地的选手登场。好，掌声先响起来。OK， 首先登场的是我们的1号选手大海 ，SWC 2025中国选手，掌声有请。 接下来登场的是 SWC 2025中国亚军，善于应对危机，掌声有请。接下来登场的是 SWC 2019世界亚军 Thompson， 掌声有请。 接下来登场是SWC 2024亚太杯选手 Stan， 掌声有请。接下来登场是 SWC 2024世界冠军，善于应对削弱可怜宝，掌声有请。 接下来登场是 SWC 2018中国亚军风雨林少，掌声有请。接下来登场的是 SWC 2025亚太杯选手杀戮主宰 TC， 掌声有请。 接下来登场的是 SWC 2024中国季军艾坤鸡哥，掌声有请。接下来出场的是 SWC 2025中国冠军康静，掌声有请。 接下来登场的是 SWC 2025亚太杯选手民剑无名卷收天 Frank， 掌声有请。接下来登场的是 SWC 2024中国亚军善于应对雪崩，掌声有请。 接下来登场的是 SWC 2024亚太杯选手示爱，掌声有请。接下来登场的是 SWC 2020世界冠军最爱钟少，掌声有请。接下来登场的是 SWC 2021美洲杯冠军，善于应对签证 Big V， 掌声有请。接下来登场的是2019、2023 SWC 世界冠军，善于应对捡漏 Les， 掌声有请。 最后一位登场的是 SWC 2025亚太杯选手 Era， 掌声有请。好，请我们所有的选手往舞台中间靠拢。在这个属于召唤的夜晚，让激情点燃赛场，让友谊跨越语言与距离。 祝愿所有的选手都能发挥最强实力，为我们带来一场最精彩的较量。掌声再次送给他们。好，现在有请我们所有选手回到选手席上做准备。你是第一个是吗？你们两个第一个。OK， 那你俩到这边的，他们下去。好，那么现在进入我们的正式比赛环节，16进8。 有请我们第一队的选手上场，然后同时也把话筒交给我们的现场解说员。
Yes, here we are. So we are live in Shenzhen right now. So it's going to be very interesting to see what this lineup is going to bring, because this lineup is super stacked. You just saw the players coming on stage, which is right behind me over there. This lineup is like a combination of China SWC with a bunch of the American champions in there, a bunch of the APAC region champions in there. This is just super stacked for a lineup. So it's going to be definitely interesting to see how far they can bring it in this kind of setup, because we're actually going to be doing best of ones in the first few rounds. So that is one of those things you cannot really adapt to drafts, what you normally do see in SWC in a best of 5 or a best of 3 kind of scenario. So curious to see like how far they will bring it. But once again, I'm like super stoked to be here. Also want to thank Comptus for inviting me here in the first place, being your caster for today. And this is what you can see as the lineup that we have. So definitely some interesting matches already. We have Kaylee and Bao sitting in there playing against Lin. Also, funny enough, all of the players that you see here on screen have played SWC at some point. Most of them multiple years, most of them are still in SWC, but also some older SWC players in there, such as like a Mr. Chung winning back in the days, Big V winning back in the days. Like, there's just so much going on with this whole lineup, and I'm really curious to see like how far they will bring it. So also let me know in the comments, like, who would you guys think brings it all the way? Are we going to see a Lest bring it all the way? Kaylee and Bao, Kanjing, like those are definitely the big names in SWC for this year. For like the SWC World Finals. So curious to see like how far they will bring it, or is actually one of the other players, maybe the lesser known that might be, or well, lesser known, all of these guys are like crazy well known, I don't have to say anything about that, but one of those players that you might not really expect, one of those players that was really high in its peak time, such as a Mr. Chung, for example. Are they going to bring it all the way? Because in the end, these guys are still playing, and I've been hanging around with these guys for the last few days. People are showcasing a little bit of runes, and this is where I got humbled, man. These guys all have crazy runes, crazy units. Everything is like stacked to the max. So curious to see. Also, this is going to be first tournament where I think Oliver is definitely not going to be the main guy to be drafting around, because we mostly do see it early lock-ins, speed leads, those kind of things. But nowadays, Oliver is actually sitting at, like, I was checking the win rates earlier, Oliver is sitting at like 48, 49-ish win rate. Definitely not like the old 50, 51, 52 that he used to be in. But also we have a new unit that became pretty much the strongest unit in game, which is Vanton, the Fire Indra. Fire Indra is sitting at a stack like 53, 54-ish win rate on the most picked unit as well. That is absolutely insane. So I definitely do think that every match will have a Fire Indra in there in any kind of shape or way. And most of the time, it's just like the bruiser style. But big question is, are you going to be bringing 2 AoE strips to pair up with that Indra, or just Indra does its own thing by the additional damage artifacts and just make it work the way there? So it's going to be a different meta. We have the different balance patch. Balance patch, I was also talking to the players over here. A lot of people do kind of like the balance patch. It definitely did showcase a whole bunch of different styles. And I see behind me that we're going into the match really fast. So we have Big C against Ask. We have a Kovaci ban. We have an Oliver ban. Oliver pre-ban. It's actually interesting. Light Nina right away. I've been playing against this unit a few times. This unit absolutely claps. It does so much more damage for now. It's like an Amber, but stacking so many more debuffs. Plus, it's one of those things that you might forget. There's 21 speed lead on this unit. I'm like, oh, I'm banning out the speed lead. No, wait. Light Nina is a speed lead. So that's one of those units you have to keep in mind. On the other side, right away, Vanton, Hey Gang. Definitely comfortable picks right there. Most of the times, Nina is also played in a scenario where you go for AoE strip. So the Hey Gang is kind of an early pick, but it does definitely make sense. On the other side, we have a Sekhmet. Sekhmet is actually doing super poorly in current meta. In G3, she's sitting at like a 45 win rate or something like that. So let's see if Sekhmet does actually perform the skill 3 that we would like to see paired up with a Ryu. On the side, we're going for the Megumi. Definitely comfortable pick thus far. Are we going to be showcasing a bunch more LB power such as that Light Nina, or are we going to go for more comfortable drafts? No, we're actually going to be pairing the Layla together with the Vanton. Super strong combo if it gets off, but there is an insane counter over there with the Dark Hacker. Dark Hacker's absolutely goated into these comps because you reduce the damage. Ooh, and I'm also really liking that Tetra. Tetra is definitely a nice unit over there. But it's kind of the question, do you want to go Tetra, or would you like to go for Veramos? Because that's also a good option. No, it's actually asking for more damage. I think in this case, a Tetra, I would have liked it a little bit more. On the other side, we go for Gianna. Yeah, Gianna would have been hard countered by the Tetra as well, so went in for a little bit more damage right there. So let's see what we go for strips. I think on the right side, you have to be banning out that Dark Hacker. Otherwise, you're simply dealing no damage whatsoever. On the left side, could be the Hey Gang, I would say. Hey Gang is still an option unless you really have a lot of faith in your Moore and you want to be removing speed leads. Also an option. No, we're actually going to be removing that Gianna still. And we're removing that Dark Hacker. The Dark Hacker, yeah. So Dark Hacker makes a lot of sense, but let's see what they will bring for this matchup. Segment skill 3, where does she go for it? Are you going to land it? All of the cooldowns are kind of short as well. Even on the Phantom, it's not too long cooldowns. Does he get it? Does actually get it right there. Also for me, the text is in Chinese. My Chinese is not that great where I can read exactly what is a increased cooltime and those kind of things. But I will have to follow that on, and that's going to work. So those four comp is definitely working. Phantom is still sitting at a reset. Phantom is not being pushed back, so we're gonna get those hits off. But now you also just get simply the cycling, and the cycling is so strong. Every time that Layla will take those turns when something else happening. 2-turn cooldown sitting on those units right now, but also that stun comfortably sitting on that Nina. Nina's not gonna do too much because of beautiful while being glanced. Landed 2 death breaks. That is definitely not too bad, but it's Megumi. Megumi, ooh, cannot connect the stun. The big question is, can this Rakan do something? If the Rakan gets online, ooh, that's not how you're gonna see a Rakan get online with that stun sitting comfortably over there. Additional turn for this Phantom. Match is over. We're going in the Thundered state. Skill 2, it's gonna be so much damage. Once again, we're gonna go for full attack bar. I love that you see the blue bar under it right now, but it is a 200% attack bar on that Layla. Layla, once again, sitting at 150 attack bar for landing her own skills. She's just gaining so much attack bar, and so nice to actually see the blue bar underneath the HP bar actually overfilling right now, and you can actually fully see, it's like, okay, what's happening to the attack bar? I really like the upgrade right there, but in this case, we saw a matchup where sure, you did your skill 3 for the segment, but after that, you were not participating. You were just like in a back foot. It is so difficult to play against these players, and that's also, it once again shows Phantom is just really, really strong in current meta. So definitely one of those units. Sure, Light Nina was cool, but in the end, you kind of probably want to pair that with a Phantom as well, and it's one of those things that you just have to lock in what's good. So for first picks, it's actually interesting to see most of the time first picks belong towards speed leads. In this case, I would say Phantom is a very viable first pick because A, you would like to play that, B, you don't want your enemy to play that. So if you have that first pick, you better lock in something strong. And that's always also the thing with an LD lock-in. I'm not too sure if both players had a Light Nina, but if you lock in your LD, it might be the scenario that yeah, it's just like you're not really stealing something of the enemy. Sure, you do see it with Gojos a lot, with the Light Gojo. Often people lock that in the first pick because it's a very well-rounded draft no matter what you do. However, it's also one of those things, it doesn't really get stolen. So on ladder, I definitely do understand it. However, in tournament play, often it is just better to maybe keep it for a little bit of a later pick and just lock in those strong units such as a Phantom first. So we're also going to go into next match. So next match that we will be having is, ooh, is that the match of Thompson? Yeah, it seems to be that we're having the match of Thompson. Actually, haven't seen Thompson play in tournament settings for quite a while. So curious to see like how he does. He's definitely one of those players. He has insane rune quality, insane units, but he's one of those players, he likes to play everything. He has like 800 units runes ready to go for RTA. And then sure, like his later on units, it's still very good runes, but if you narrow it down to just like 30 units, 40 units, it's a lot better on that kind of shape or way. So curious to see like what he's going to be bringing to the table. And on the other side, we have Stan. Stan is also, I think he played back in 2023 for the APAC region. So also definitely not a nobody. All of those players were SWC competitors at some kind of point. And I think all of them also made it to the Cup. So they're not just like the players that tried to qualify. All of those 16 players that we have here today made it to Cups at some of the years. So that's really interesting to see. You know what actually would be really funny to see? If we can get a rematch of Thompson against Lest, which was the World Finals in 2019. That's like so far back, Paris, 6 years ago. This game has been running so long. That would be really a banger. But right now, let's see what these two gentlemen get. I see behind me over there that we have the players being seated, and let's see what they bring. Like I'm definitely curious to see Thompson. What is he going to be playing around? He also has a good bit of LDs. On the other side, Stan, I'm actually not too familiar with his current playstyle or like what kind of style he's going to go for the draft. But I do expect, once again, Phantom is really one of those units. Like that's just the core business right now. You want to be locking in your core business. You want to be locking in anything that's strong. But then the big question is, do you fully commit for it and you go double AoE strip? It's actually currently a playstyle that I'm adapting to as well. But then if your AoE strips don't land, it might be a bad day for you. So let's see what the two gentlemen will lock in here. So you see them seated over there. Yeah, you see, yeah, over there. I'm having such a great position over here, man. If I knew everything. Because amazing. I absolutely love that. So I'm also all up for SWC. Bring everyone World Finals to China would be absolutely very cool as well. But that is something that might happen next year, or the year after, or the year after that, or after that, or after that. You never know. At least I don't know where the next SWC is yet. I guess we'll figure that out in like 3-4 months. That's mostly like, I think, yeah, mostly in like March is where they start announcing like next SWC kind of things. So very curious to see where it goes. And I do see on my screen that they're in the pick and ban. So let's see what these two gentlemen will lock in for the ban. It was interesting to see what previous pre-ban, we had an Oliver still in the pre-ban. I would definitely say Oliver maybe a tournament play. Well, actually, I would also say the last SWC was not that common as well. So we do see it over here. We got a Tian Lang being pre-banned and a Gianna being pre-banned. And also we see the highest finishes over there. Stan sitting at a 5th spot, so just missing the Legend tournament. Thompson absolutely loving his FIFA gel. Fun story about that one. We were sitting in the lobby in Paris SWC, and Thompson was like, I really want FIFA gel this, FIFA gel that, FIFA gel this, FIFA gel that. He was just constantly hyping up FIFA gel, but we did not own that one at that time. And at some point, I was doing the rehearsals in Paris for SFC, and I was checking a few matches. I'm like, wait, Thompson just played FIFA gel. Did he just pull it? He was like, he literally pulled it like in Paris right there. So let's see what he go for. We do have a Laura and that Venton, very strong combo. On the other side, we have a Leo plus FIFA gel combo. Super strong as well, especially with a Han. If you have a Han, it amplifies your FIFA gel by just so much more. It just gets so much more powerful that way. Stan, what are you looking at to counter? Because if you give that FIFA gel, ooh, Widget. Haven't seen Widget in quite a long time. And on the other side, I do not even exactly know how this unit is called. It's too new. It is recently buffed to, I think, do multi-hits right now. It can increase cooltime for 2 turns. The Dark Beetle Guardian, but I'm curious to see if it's going to be strong because Stan has to be locking in a, well, he only has 1 speed lead. And he only has 1 strip. So he could be looking at like a Chiwu in the last pick. Ooh, Thompson goes for the fireworks. Leo plus full LDs. We add in a Lucifer and a Seraph. Very dangerous over there. But does end up with only just 1 speed lead. But then again, you have the Leo plus the Lucifer combination. So that will give you enough bar to outspeed. So what is Stan going to do? Also adding in more LDs. Man, both sides. We have a Leo, we have a Venton. And outside of that, it's just full LDs. But I'm going to give the upper hand to Thompson. I've seen him play this draft. This draft is super dangerous. He does so much damage on all of those units. It just adds in so well. And the big question is, what do you ban on that comp of Thompson? It looks so powerful. I definitely would not like to be facing that. And on the other side, Stan does lock in his own LDs as well. But it's not really the kind of LDs that I feel like doing too much. So we actually have a Cracker Respect. Interesting. But yeah, now you still have the combination of Leo into a Lucifer, which I think that the Lucifer maybe was the must ban. Then again, that FIFA Gel is, I think, on the fastest set that Thompson does have. So we're going into a little bit of a pause right here. Yep, back to the screen. So going to go in that match very shortly. Let me know in comments. Who do you guys think will win? But I would definitely say Lucifer Seraph with a Leo and FIFA Gel. That's, if you have those units, it's not gonna be that common. Very, very strong combo. Yes, we're going back into the match. Let's see how much this Lucifer can bring. We need 5k damage from this Leo on any unit to give R to that Lucifer. Will we do 5k damage? That should easily be like a high damage Leo right there. But what is the easiest target to hit that on? Does go for it, is enough damage. So now we're gonna go for full rotation of all of the units of Thompson moving right now. Han going in. Not that high on the damage right there, but we do also have next hit coming in. Is that enough? Ooh! Might Stan be too tanky. Is he gonna survive this? No, but a sliver of health. All units are still on the field, but they're so low on HP. Like the bar of the Venton is not visible, but who do you kill over here? I think you have to take out the Venton. But now can you take over? Because I'm not sure how strong this Beetle Guardian is gonna be. Oh, Laura doing some Laura things. Also, big question is if this Rat can get skills off, it still could be a way to win over there. Still good damage, even though that the speed buff is not really working for your additional damage. Skill 3 looks very nice. How much damage are we doing? Good bit of damage, but things are not that just yet. So it's all about the Beetle Guardian right now that has to take out units. Ooh, also by the sliver of health taking out is Sarath. Sarath does leave battlefield right there. Additional turns, we're going back into the Toy Knight skill 2, does actually fully stun. And we have where Thompson has such a strong cleave by the sliver of health. Stan is just super tanky and it's just simply taking out units, but he's also not having that much damage. There's still a few units, like every unit on the side of Thompson, if they take one turn, they will take out a unit. We don't have the skill 3 just yet. Skill 2 is going to be enough. It does just give you, ooh, the additional turn. This might take it, the additional turn right here. Takes out 2 more units and Stan makes us survive. Brings the Beetle Guardian and actually wins all the way. Wow, very interesting play right there. Was a little bit unfortunate on that addition turn, was a little bit unfortunate for not doing enough damage, but also credits to Stan for being able to survive that much damage. There's just so much damage in that comp. I would say maybe the other way around. I'm not 100% sure if you go for a Lucifer plus a Seraph kind of style. Do you go for a Lucifer movement first or the Seraph movement first? Like, would you do more damage by the passive of the Lucifer? I'm not 100% sure about that. I think you have to make Lucifer go first and then Seraph will do a lot more damage, but I don't have these units. I cannot test that. I cannot test that. But we're gonna go into our next match, which is going to be Alien Bao against Lin. Lin is one of those players. I think Lin participated in the qualifiers for the China SWC. I think all the way since 2017. He's one of the most OG players. He always goes to like the regional part, but he never made it to a world final. So therefore, maybe he's a little bit lesser known for the Western audience, but definitely a good player as well. But that's also just China server, like China Cup. It's stacked. Like you have to play against Taurus, you have to play against Les, you have to play against like Age Forecast, like so many Hunting also added to the game right now. Good players here, right? So let's see if Lin can actually make it against his good friend Alien Bao, because the two of them are actually pretty good friends. And yeah, that's always like you see your record and you're like, Alien Bao first. Like, yeah, that's not gonna be an easy one. That's gonna be a rough one over there. So taking his shield moment seated right there. But Alien Bao also, this is just what I absolutely love about Alien Bao. Like, his expression of just sitting there is like, yeah, I'm just here, another day at the office. We're gonna clap some people, we're gonna make fun of that, and then we're gonna have a good time. Maybe do a bit of a trip, like he always likes to talk in his interviews about, like doing the trips, having a good time, eating delicious food. But yeah, it's always one of those players. He's very relaxed. I would say sometimes maybe a bit too relaxed. But let's see what he will bring to the table on this one, because I actually did play Alien Bao a few times on ladder this season, and he was also playing on the Light Lina. So let's see if we're, oh yes, we already have a Light Nina seated over there. On the other side, we're going for passive route, also adding in with the Nyx. Interesting, we're adding in a Laura. What are we pairing with the Laura? It's definitely very heavy turn 1 style on Alien Bao, but that's also what Alien Bao is known for. Like, he just wants to AoE, cleave, turn 1, Veronica's in there, all of that kind of good stuff. I wouldn't be surprised if he locks in like a Maximilian on the 5 right there. But what can you do on the side of Lin? What can Lin bring to the table which would be strong enough? Would you be looking at, okay, it's actually going for some speed leads himself. Also have to keep in mind right now, Xingzi, the Wind Monkey, is a speed lead himself at the moment as well. So that's definitely one of those strong units. I was also thinking about an Abelio, but then again, Abelio into pushbacks is not that bad, but Abelio into a Veronica, that already says like, hey, I have to ban a Veronica. And then good old Chang Peng. Very nice drafted right there. However, we have 1 speed lead apiece. It could be the bans on the speed lead, but I would also say probably you have to ban that Veronica. But then again, if the Chang Peng moves, fully pushes back Abelio, Abelio is also not really gonna do the thing. Question then, the Nyx. How much is Nyx going to be adding for the resistance possibility? So many potentials. Ooh, we're actually battling 1 speed lead, and on the other side, if this Nyx is Swift, Nyx on Swift could actually take a first turn. And Nyx on Swift is definitely not bad in current meta. We do have speed lead on that monkey over there. Laura goes for the crit lead because there's no other interesting lead. Well, you could have went for an attack lead, but Chang Peng with the attack lead probably does not add that much as well. Who's going to take first turn? Ooh, no, we actually have Nyx moving right after, but those were a lot of resistance right there. And Nyx went for a really good performance there. We still have the Venton. Ooh, Venton is able to get skills off. But is this going to be enough. Like in the end, Abelio sitting at a comfortable spot. Monkey will potentially go for a stun. Does it go for a stun? Does not get a stun. Also, one of those interesting things, both Riley and Alaya are actually pretty good into Phantom and pretty good into the whole silence meta that we have. Because silences don't work on the skill 4. And with that, it's actually really nice. Ooh, we're gonna go for additional turn. Skill 3, how much damage are we dealing? Killing Bao some crazy good artifacts. Those are some good damage. Monkey actually not activating while his whole team is being hit right there. So let's see, glancing. We definitely do want to get glancing on this. Ooh, I was expecting glancing towards the Phantom, but it does make sense. 29 is still available. The pushbacks though, we do have Abelio cutting in. Abelio, massive heal, 21k. Everyone back to full HP, so also good rotation right there for the additional turn, getting back into the human form. Skill 2, not as much damage as it used to be. Also, this Monkey is definitely very well drafted. If you know how Kalian Bao plays, it's also definitely something you can utilize, like saying like, okay, you're crazy fast. You will have that turn 1. We'll take it from there, but we're gonna go with these fast moves to interrupt your turn and your rotation. And in the end, there's a lot of healing sitting on the side of Lin, whereas on the side of Kalian Bao, there's no healing at all. Plus, now you start rotating into immunity. Every time that you put the immunity up, it just works really well. Also, once again, I think there was a full increase. All 4 units were increased on that Nyx. Nyx is going for a really good performance in this match right here. Then again, ooh, we have the rotation, but then again, even the skill 2, it doesn't really add anything. There's just the Riley is adding so much to the table. If you are a turn 2 player, you probably want to be looking at adding in a Riley into your draft right now, or even an Alaya. If you're struggling with Phantoms, these are the kind of units, same with that Abelio, these are the kind of units that you should be looking at. However, Changfeng skill 3, how much can we push back? Do we actually get pushed back? Are you in despair? Not on despair, but you do get stunned yourself. So Laura's definitely trying to get a lot of damage in, but there's just so many AoEs flying where every time Riley gets a turn, it's just once again full on healing, full on the immunity, full on the attack buff. Jingzi, definitely a good performance as well. And we actually have Lin doing very well against the SWC World Champion of last year. So Lin very, very well played. So let's see how far he can make it on this one, because that is mostly like, Ari has played the China Cup for SWC. Those are mostly the kind of matches that he loses. But this is also best of 1 right now. If it was best of 3 or best of 5, it would be one of those things like, sure, you can adapt to the draft. Kalian Bao is like, I don't know how many units run, and he can definitely beat like a bruiser comp like that. But then again, he was surprised by it right now, and therefore it did not work out for him. So next match, we actually have TC against Icon. To be honest, 2 players I have seen before, but not players that I'm very familiar with what the current playstyle is. But as I mentioned before during the introduction, I'm expecting a Vanthan in every match. So I do expect in this one as well, it's going to be Vanthan related. But in this case, actually, we did have Lin showcase very well that Vanthan, it is beatable. It is very beatable. Abelio, really good against it. Riley, super good against it. Nyx definitely did help in his own performance as well. And then just the Jingzi to add it all up to the table, where Speedly made it that segment became a must back. But also just every time an AoE happens, so many chances to just get stuns in. So just building that unit fairly tanky, it works out. So curious to see what the 2 players over here are going to bring to the table. Also, once again, everyone here SWC player. That is just very interesting to see. All of them have played SWCs before, as you can see by the shirts over there as well. So, yeah, let me know in the comments, what do you guys think for predictions on this match? Are you familiar with either one of the 2 playstyles? And also the big question is it going to be more Vanthan? We haven't seen a single Oliver yet. We had Oliver in the pre-ban. Also, I would say less SWC. We don't see that much Oliver needed. We had Pooh playing around with this LD comp. We had a lot of Chakra flying around, those kind of things. Not as much Vanthan just yet, but definitely right now there's a lot of Vanthans. It's for a reason most big unit in G3 at the moment. So if you're in somewhat of the lower ranks, you don't see it too much yet, you're probably gonna see it soon as well, because that's definitely one of those units everyone is picking up, trying to do it as best as possible. Some people might think like, hey, do I have to go super damage? Do I have to go high HP, low HP? The main style that you want to go is speed, HP, and then just additionals on attack, additional damage by attack on the artifacts, but also still have like a good bit of attack in your stats itself, because you get the amplifier of the attack the moment you're in combat state. Therefore, your additional damage artifacts very good. Accuracy, you might ask, most players are going to go between like 20 to 35-ish is mostly the sweet spot. You're not really going to be landing on the 100 rest targets, but it's hard to get like a lot of good stats in it as well. But then again, if you can go higher on the accuracy, especially if you're full on turn 1, I have to see my enemy, otherwise you die, go higher accuracy. Because otherwise you have definitely issues against like 100 res and FLs and those kind of things. Bans, we have ban on the Hey Gang and ban on the Gojo. So Gojo players mostly do tend to first pick Gojo. It's not gonna be happening in this case. But also Hey Gang ban already signals, saying it's like, I'm gonna be playing some kind of AoE CC, and once again, Phantom locked in that first position. So big question is, do you start stealing some of the units that the Phantom does like to play with? Megumi, definitely a good option. Not really a steal as of that much, because Phantom plus Megumi is mostly not super strong on the pair. But big question is, what do you want to pair that with? Hey Gang is already banned, so you can also go for like a Shiho pretty comfortably, knowing that a Hey Gang is not going to interrupt that. Combination of Megumi plus Shiho is definitely what I would like to see. Ooh, we're actually going to go into a light Hwoarang. I have not seen too much of him since the recent balancing. He's still very strong though. Like, he was sitting at 55-ish win rate, currently sitting at like around 53-ish, still a very strong unit. Other side, we have a good combination of a Sierra plus a Yan Hong. Let's see what we do have as answer against that. Ooh, I do like myself some Valeska. Valeska is really one of those units. Even if you're super on the back foot, Valeska can take like a few turns towards the end of a match and start cleaning whole battlefields. Always a very interesting unit to see over there. Together with a demon, Dark Demon in there. Yep, that's where you start looking at like, okay, how can I reset those units? Veronica, absolutely a strong resetter right there. But in this whole matchup, I'm not too sure how the interaction between Phantom and a light Hwoarang is. I think that a Hwoarang would definitely take the upper hand in that matchup, so banning out that Sierra is definitely one of those things that you could do. But, oh, okay, does actually go for the full combo. I could see a world where simply Veronica ban. Oh, and this is once again, I mentioned it before, this is nearly a must ban as well. But I would say that bans probably land on the Veronica and land on the hacker on the right side, but I would say that we have good chance for player on the right side to have like a better position over here, because of simply Dark Demon super strong over here. Only thing is, yep, exactly those bats. Only thing for the Dark Demon, which could be a counter position, is that if Dark Demon dies the moment that Layla gets a lot of bar, or well, if the Dark Demon wants to come back at the moment that a Layla just got a lot of bar, Demon is never gonna take that turn. So let's see if Icon can actually make that play over here. First of all, we're gonna see some turns going to the player on the bottom side, which is TC. So how much do we get? Do we get silences? Good bit of silences. We are actually interrupted by the Megumi. Does not have a silence sitting at it. Big question right now. Do you go for the... Yeah, okay, Phantom. Phantom definitely makes a lot of sense to go over there. You still have that you have to kill Sierra. Ooh, the additional turn. Very strong additional turn right there. So we're probably going to say goodbye to the Demon right away, but Demon will come back at a later moment. But this is where you simply go into the cycling. Also, yep, how much damage? Yeah, simply just taking out the Demon right there. Other units are looking still decently lively except for the Megumi. But what is this Sierra bomb going to do? I would definitely like a attack break on this Sierra right now, therefore your bomb would do a lot less damage. Can we get the attack break? No, but we get the additional turn. Can we go for the strip and the stun? We're looking strip, stun, does connect. The strip is a Sierra proc. No Sierra proc right there. However, we still have the Yeon Hong sitting on the skill 3 available. Skill 3 will boost most likely towards that Sierra right there. We also are looking at full stacks on the Hwoarang right now, or just a little bit off. So let's see, bomb. You have to connect the bomb on the Hwoarang, I think. Or, well, would you go for the Valeska? It's both strong options. Does go for the Valeska right there. Is he going to let it sit? Or does he go for the Explode? If he goes for the Explode right now, I am not sure if he has... Would he have had enough bar where he would have guaranteed that the Demon comes back at a bad time? Because that is the main thing that TC wants to be utilizing right now. You want to bring anything down to 0 HP, you want to take out any unit the moment that something else is already looking at like 110 attack bar. And now you can actually read those attack bars, which is really nice as well. So let's see what he's going to do with this hit, because if you take out the Megumi, it's going to be a really bad timing for you. Does not take it out just yet. Also on this S2, if you were to take it out right now, it's once again kind of a bad timing. Does go for the takeout. Do we actually go for, ooh, we have the S2 plus Demon moves right after this. This S2 can also simply take out a, it's gonna take one out. It does take one out. We also have Demon sitting comfortably, but who do you go for? Do you go for Sierra? Do you go for the Layla? Or do you go for the Yeon Hong? I would definitely go for Sierra because Sierra is the most deadliest towards the Hwoarang. Does take it out with an 80k heal. We're saying hello to the Megumi. So in this case, Hwoarang has a good position right now to do a lot of work. Does it get slowed? Ooh, does actually get slowed, unfortunately. So there's a lot less damage output, there's less cycling going in, but still there's really good damage coming from this unit. Also, ever since the Valeska skill 1 HP scaling, it's just simply doing so much more damage, and this was exactly what we were waiting for with this match. Demon coming back at a time that you could not go for any kind of interruption, and then simply take over from there. So once again, it does show. Hwoarang did not perform that much of a solo, which we have seen in other matches where Hwoarang was really a solo kind of potential. But in this case, very strong LD combination right there. Absolutely worked out very well. And interesting to see how far he can make that to also next round. And this is also, once again, we're looking at best of ones. We're going into best of threes later. But best of ones are always really fast-paced on like, okay, you cannot really adapt to the draft because next match you could be it's like, oh, let me just ban that Valeska, see how you play then, or let me go for a different first pick or anything like that. Also, you cannot go for the same pre-ban. So that's always going to be things that in multiple matches in a row, there's less factors where I could say it's like, hey, let me adapt to the draft. And that's definitely what you normally do see with an SWC. Best of fives, we even have seen it best of 7 all the way at the end for SWC World Finals. But let's see, best of ones. You definitely can go for like a super one-trick kind of style, but you also have to keep in mind your opponents are also watching. So your one trick that you used in the previous round might not work in the next round. So let's see what players do we have coming up next. We actually have Kanjing against Frank. Kanjing had a very strong performance in his China qualifier for SWC. Made it all the way, I think he got first or second. I'm not, I think he got second in that one. But he was all the way on the stage in SWC. On SWC World Finals in Paris, did not really work out that well for him. He did tell me afterwards, like he was just like, first time on stage, super nervous, crowd so big, so much noise, he was just very nervous. So let's see if in a more relaxed playstyle that he can do right now, if he can bring it all the way. And Kanjing is also definitely one of those, maybe not that familiar to people because he just, I would say, became known this year for playing SWC. But the man is actually, I think he told me he was sitting on 64 LD5s. The man has a few. Like, he's pretty much, like he has all of the units that Kaylee Bao has, minus, I think, the Light Gojo, but he has a Zeratul. And then again, Zeratul current state is not that strong. But yeah, he's pretty much on Kaylee Bao level with all of the LDs you have. But then again, we have seen it with the Kaylee Bao and Lin match. All of those LDs can be somewhat predictable what you're playing. So let's see what Kanjing is going to be playing against Frank in this. Frank is also one of those players, very much an OG player. I think he also dates back all the way to like 2018, 2017 for his first appearance in SWC. I'm not too familiar with his playstyle at the moment, or if he goes for any kind of particular LDs or anything on those lines. But that's always the question, like, what do you bring to the table in these kind of matchups where it is a best of one and you're knowing you're playing against a Warlord? Like, Kanjing, absolute Warlord over there. I'm not too familiar with his runes, but from what I've heard, other people playing against him, he said he's crazy fast. Sonya, super fast set. Yeonong, super fast set. I would say Sonya, maybe in current meta, is not feeling as dominant as she was doing in previous metas. I'm not 100% sure where that comes from. Maybe it's just like the Phantom, too many fire units, and therefore too little units to snipe out. Could maybe be a reason. But then again, let's see what they bring to the table. Also, I would say that the current meta, sure, everything is like Phantom. But outside of Phantom, there's actually a good bit of options which are viable. Still things like Shiho, very strong. Also for speed leads, there's so many good speed leads that it's actually difficult to say, it's like, what is your best first pick right now? Outside of just a Phantom, I would almost say. So once again, we have a player sitting at rank 5. That's my favorite rank as well. I think I got rank 5 myself like 3-4 times. It's one of those ranks like, yeah, I almost participated in Legend Tournament, but then I didn't. So let's see what they bring over here. Pre-bans, definitely taking their time for the pre-ban. What would we be looking at for pre-ban? I want to see someone just pre-ban Phantom, see where it goes from there. But then again, would you pre-ban something that you also are using yourself? Most likely not really. So I would say probably Preben does not land on that, but we're definitely taking the time. Preben is sitting at Asher, and we're sitting at a Veronica. Veronica's definitely making quite a bit of a comeback in these tournaments over here. Asher is also a super strong unit. I've been playing myself quite a bit on Asher, and it's always the question, where do you put your fastest set on? And Asher, with the current meta with Venton and things, is definitely something that you could place it on. Kanjing still opting to go for a good old Oliver, so interesting to see that he still opts to go for that playstyle. I would say that he probably wants to pair that with a Yan Hong. Might be a little bit early for Yan Hong, but if it is your best set, it's definitely not bad. Ooh, we're going back into a Zhongxiang Lao. Very strong combination as well, but in all honesty, yes, Zhongxiang Lao is really strong, but the Venton does that better. That's kind of the thing. We're actually going to go for double on the Chakra on the right side on Frank. You could be countering out that Chakra by simply going for a Leo, but if you're going to go Yelong, you're most likely not pairing that with a Leo. Plus then you get the question, does your Leo get banned or not? Makes the draft a little bit difficult over there. Twin Angels. Twin Angels Light is also super strong in this current meta because there's a lot of good AoE units. You got the Zhongxiang Lao, you got the Venton. So a Twin Angels on Light is really, really strong. Good common counter against that. The Megumi. Let's see what it brings. Ooh, we're gonna go for Jackson. Jackson is definitely interesting in here. Favorite unit of Ammo Days. Not sure if Ammo, if you're shout out to you, if you're watching, you see Jackson on the screen over here. And if he's winning this one, he's not gonna get buffed, my man. Ooh, we still go for a Leo right there. Interesting on the Leo. Well, I could say, like, if you go Leo, you ban out the Venton. Enemy has near to no damage because your Chakra deals legit no damage. Jackson has near to no damage. All damage has to come from that Megumi, which is going to be rough. So I'm expecting Leo ban, other side Venton ban. I think he's still betting on it, like, okay, if you leave my Leo in, you're going to be sitting at super low damage. But also with this whole setup, I would say that Kanjing is sitting at a comfortable spot where he will take the turn one, but then it's the big question. There are a lot of passives on the other side. Can you actually deal with all of the passives? Locking in those bans, taking the time for the bans, taking their choices, their decisions. But I'm still expecting Venton to be gone because that's the main damage dealer, and exactly that Leo also to be gone. So at least the Chakra is a damage unit right now. But let's see, there's no sustain on the side of Frank. Kanjing does have the Yan Hong for the sustain. Is that enough though? Because on one side I could see Kanjing have a very comfortable turn one. It will definitely be interrupted by Frank. But is Frank gonna have enough damage? That's the big question. He is definitely hoping for a lot of stunts because a lot of these units are on Despair. And with Despair, it might get you to enough, but let's see if that's gonna work. We have Will sitting at everyone. Yan Hong, who would you like to boost up? Ooh, he's actually gonna go for just a simple S2. In this case, you definitely have to go for a attack bar boost on the monkey, and you kinda have to try to strip, but can you actually do it? Boost of the monkey, strips, interrupted by all units. And now you can actually once again see it's like, this is what attack bar gain does. And we have a 200% attack bar sitting. Ooh, big miss over there. So now it's all up to the Chakra. If the Chakra cannot perform stuns, ooh, no attack break sitting just there. Stun on it, don't get the stun over there. But Oliver does kind of have free reign at this for a little bit after. No stun on the Oliver just yet. We do have glancing sitting on the monkey. Glancing on the monkey will help it where the skill 3 is going to be less consistent. However, monkey has a double hit. Because of the double hit, it's still really strong. But then again, main damage dealer on the field on the side of Frank right now is that Chakra. Can Chakra do enough to actually not super high on the damage? And this is where you kind of see it's like, okay, we're looking a little bit low on the damage. We have no actual resets. We're just trying to push back everything, slowly get things in over there. If Chakra gets back to another skill 2, then we're looking at a dead side on Kanjing. However, if Kanjing does get the monkey towards the skill 3 and he lands a good bit of those stuns, then it could be very different the other way around. So we're looking for stuns. Most likely Chakra is on Despair. Does get 2 Despairs, but I think he should have aimed that towards the monkey. Ooh, monkey performing pretty decent, not too bad. Missing 1 stun is definitely not that bad. Big question though, Once again, try to hit on the monkey. Monkey does not get it just yet. Most of these monkeys are on crit rate, but also it's Oliver's doing a lot of damage. If you're main playing the Dark Monkey, you probably want a crit rate on your Oliver as well, because crit rate Oliver just makes so much more damage. Monkey is probably also crit rate 11k, not super high damage, but good enough damage to take it out. Yeon Hong is also still having all skills available, but Yeon Hong is going to be lead. Ooh, Jackson has no damage. It's one of those units, no damage, but the side of Frank is also not showing too much damage right now because Jackson, no damage. Megumi could be a crit rate. Megumi could do a good bit of damage, but it's simply not enough. We're going to go for skill 2. Does actually... yeah, any of the skills would have potentially interrupted right here. Do we get stuns? No stuns. I think that Oliver just takes over the match from here because there's just simply not enough damage on the enemy side right now. I think with the cooldown increase that we had earlier, we're probably also looking at Songcheng Lao having all skills available again. So let's see if we can get those skills in. But yeah, Oliver on damage. That's definitely the way. Ooh, good stun. Had no skill 3 available, but had the skill 2 available. Skill 2 would have probably taken it out. Slowly but surely, Jackson is kind of whittling down units, but there's just too many units to focus, especially with this Oliver doing good bits of damage. That's just going to be hard. I think this skill 3, ooh, I think he should have connected kills, because if Jackson goes off right now and you get multiple stuns in, it could have been rough though. But there we say goodbye to the Jackson. There we also say goodbye, but a Oliver will always beat a gang. So Kanjing, in the end, makes Oliver still work, but I would say it's more on the draft of all of the other units rather than the Oliver doing Oliver things. Like we've seen it before, Oliver just takes over the match, keeps cycling, doing all the work. But in this case, I would say it was more on the Songcheng Lao, just getting his good turn off, getting the stuns in, the Yeon Hong getting good damage in at the start, and there was no sustain on the side of Frank, so any damage that was dealt was never coming back, and that's always a nice scenario to sit at. It's like having Destroy on all of your units, because hey, your HP is gone, it ain't coming back. So let's see, going into next match that we have Aatrox against Ji Hong. Interesting one right there as well. Aatrox is also from the China SWC. We have seen him, I think he won or he got second place in 2024. At least he was playing in Japan. And on the other side, Yi Hong, I think he was playing in the Asia Other region for SWC. And I'm not sure which year he made it to the APAC Cup itself. I think in 2023 or 2022 is my assumption on that. But yeah, let's see what those two players bring. And also, we can definitely see it's a lot of Van first pick. So having first pick in this meta is actually very important because you just lock in the unit that all of these players have. Like, there's not a single one of them that does not have a Van over here. But that's also with the scrolls, and that scroll is probably coming back, I think like a week or maybe 2 weeks from now, where you have the scroll of the 11-year, I think it's called 11-year Transcendent Scroll or something like that, but the Ancient Transcendent Scroll, where you get 10 units and you pick one and all of the 10 units are new. Most of these guys, if not all of these guys, are probably missing like, I would say, maybe 0 to 5 units, maybe 10 units-ish. I think that's pretty common for those players you see here on the screen. And for them, it's like, oh, one unit becomes meta, I don't have it yet, let me use that scroll and pick up that unit. So it's definitely one of those scrolls you want to get, even though you're not like exactly using it on the spot. You can always keep it to see as like if some unit gets released. Yes, we have a Van banned, so let's see what we can play without a Van. Also, both players here on the screen looking at a rank 49 as highest participating in just the normal season. So let's see what we do bring if Van is gone. Gojo, I did mention before, Gojo is one of those units, it's often first picked, but it's also something in a tournament setting you can actually pick later. But it's one of those things that if you pick it later, it might not be fitting your draft. So it's also, in the end, you're not just picking the unit, but you're also picking a set. So most likely one of the best sets does go to your Gojo if you first pick it. On the other side, we have an Inosuke and a Zhongsheng Lao. Inosuke, I'm still not a big fan of it. I tried to play it myself. I've seen some people play very well with it. For example, Scribble played very well with it for a bit, but also then afterwards he started hard dropping on that. It is mostly paired with a Layla, but I'm not too sure. Actually, we're going to go for Leo into the Chakra once again. That's the reason why Chakra is not that high on win rate. Chakra sitting at like 49-ish win rate, whereas a Phantom sitting at a 53, 54. It's because a Phantom, sure, it has some counters like the Abellio and those kind of things, but you need multiple units to counter a Phantom properly, whereas countering a Chakra is just like, hey, I either outspeed you or I just Leo, and with Leo, unit is pretty much nullified. Ooh, but then a FIFA Shell into a Leo, that's always one of those things. If the Leo will always moves first, if the FIFA Shell moves right after, that is a dead Leo right there. Also bringing in a Hwoarang into a Leo is very interesting. Also seeing a buffed Coco. I tried to play with Coco a bit myself. It's decent, but the moment you don't have the orbs up or you don't actually perform a full kill with the orbs, it's not that great. It's kind of interesting, but not that great. I still liked her more where she was just a Leo counter on 100 res and you just use the Awakening into res to go for that. But in this case, interesting to see. I would say you probably have to ban on the Leo. Well, the FIFA Shell is the ban, or the FIFA Shell is the counter to the Leo. But if you want your Chakra to do anything, you have to ban out that Leo. So, yep, still going to go for the Leo ban right there. We have 2 speed leads on the left side. We have 0 speed leads on the right side. So, let's see what they can bring over there. Yan Hong for the resistance lead is definitely nice as well. But in this case, I could see a Zhongchen Lao taking over the match. But the big question is, can you pair well enough to an Inosuke? Because pairing to an Inosuke is always kind of hard. We do get the pushback, yes. If we do get the pushback, then you're actually looking at a good pair. Without that pushback, you're not looking at a good pair. Also, this Coco is very fast right here. Sure, it's a fast unit right now because of 116 base, but that's also a very good set on it. Do we get all stunts? We do not get the stun. Once again, Hwoarang is just standing there. It's like, nope, nope, nope. I'm fine. Anything procs out? Nothing procs out in this game. So this is one of those matches, all eyes on the Hwoarang. Are you going to take out the Hwoarang with this? That is so much damage. Wow, that's actually a really good counter on the Hwoarang. Did not even think of that. Like the moment I saw the opportunity, I'm like, wait, that's actually really strong. But that works out so much better than expected. That was impressive to see. Then again, ooh, Monkey taking out units. FIFA Shell can go for the S3. That's also the thing on FIFA Shell. If you have a bad moment to do your S3 in the first time that you do it, it just takes very long. And we actually have the orbs already back because we did make that kill before. And that's always important. If you don't make the kills with Coco, your orbs don't come back right away. But in this case, we do have that. And I think you nearly, I expected more from the counter on the orb, but we do have an attack break sitting on there. But I think that this match is a very much over in the favor of H-Frog. H-Frog's played this one very well. In the end, it did work out for the Inosuke taking that first turn, outspeeding. But that's also the thing, you have to outspeed. That's not that big of a difficulty if you have speed lead. But then you also have to strip on everything and you have to land that pushback. So it's kind of like a Triton, but then also fairly different. It's a Triton, but then only on one unit. If there were multiple speed units on the side of Jihong, then it would have been a lot more difficult because then you only push back one unit and the other unit will still take its turn. So that's definitely one of those things. If you play Inosuke, you have to be very careful that you're only playing against one speedy unit and you have to push that back. Otherwise, Inosuke really not doing his job. But that's also the thing that I still have with Inosuke. Sure, decent to good skill 3, 28 lead, really good. But skill 1 and skill 2, skill 1 50%, skill 2 sure it's 100% can't glance, but is it really that great? That's always the big question on that. Next match we're gonna go into is Mr. Chung against a Big V. We have Mr. Chung, the SWC winner of, I think it was the year 2020. And on the other side, Big V, he won America Cup once for sure. I think even twice, but I'm not 100% sure about the second one. But yeah, definitely 2 Warlords as well. But also players that I would say mainly played in previous iterations of SWC. So let's see how far they can bring it in this one. I do also know that Mr. Chung most of the time is casting for Chinese Cantonese, as far as I know. So he's not always playing. So he also went from, it's like, okay, I got my victory. I'm gonna chill a bit, doing the casting, just yapping. It's always a lot easier than tryharding on these matches itself. However, I would say with this tournament right now, everyone is super chill. There's not that much on the line. There's no SWC. There's not going to like a World Finals. So everyone is a lot more chilled and just having fun and playing the game, which is definitely cool to see. And that's also where you see a lot more people playing together in the lobby, when we're just sitting in the hotel. People are showing runes and those kind of things. So that's definitely cool to see. And yeah, curious to see what they will bring to this matchup itself. So we have Mr. Chung sitting ready over there with his opponent, Big V. Let's see, do we see a Venton pre-ban once again? I think the only people that would actually pre-ban Venton are the people that already adapted to, or did not adapt yet to the new meta, did not actually try out with the Venton just yet, and then you might be thinking like, hey, let me just ban that because I don't have enough experience against it. People that maybe did not play that much with the current balance patch, then you could definitely say the Venton could be a ban. But then again, I think every one of those players will have Venton being locked in. And yes, once again, Venton on the pre-ban setting right there from Mr. Chung towards Big V. On the other side, we have the light pony Eleanor being removed from the field. Gianna first pick. Both players do actually share a Gianna. It's interesting to see it as a first pick though. I do actually know that Big V has 2 Giannas. So it's one of those things, you could go one for like a Nemesis, you could go one for Swift, you could go Vio. So you have multiple options possible that you could rune it on. Only big question is, do you have good enough rune depth where you could rune up 2, and is it good enough as a unit to rune up 2 right now? Other side, we have Chandra. Ooh, that's fairly old meta. We're going back to Twin Angels. Other side, we're locking in more LDs. Love to see the more LDs. Into a Gojo plus a Kovaci. It's not really units that... There's a lot of setup right now, but there's no finishes just yet. So 4 and 5 of Big V is definitely going to go into heavy damage dealers. But Mr. Chung, what are we playing with the Twin Angels? Twin Angels definitely, ever since the skill 1 got from 15% to 10%, we haven't seen too much of them. Praha, ooh, that's definitely older style right there with the Hey Gang. Praha is also one of, it was his signature units back in the days when he won in 2022, or in 2020. So, curious to see if that's, yeah, you don't really see that too much. It's still a good unit. Daydream, skill 3, incredible healing. But is it going to be enough? We do already have the Hagen covering for both the Gojo and the Gianna, but what are the finishes? We're definitely going back in old style metas. This is with a Pater. Okay, interesting. I would say if you ban the Dominic, do you not start lacking damage? That it could be an issue on the side of Big V. Because Dominic, I like the idea, especially with the Kovaci attack buff Dominic. If you have good runes on that, it's still an insane amount of damage. Big issue for Dominic is if Dominic drops below 50% HP, his damage really lowers. Because that's where his extra damage gets lowered. And he's going to go into trying to heal himself. And the heal himself is not as impactful. Ooh, also a Federica. Interesting one right there. I do like the Federica as well, because Hagen is seemingly a must ban, but Federica could be pretty annoying in that. I could also see a world where you just pick a Sonya and just snipe out a Gianna or a Dominic, but then again, what is a Sonya trap? You never know. Peter most likely will never be Sonya trap though, so could have been an option for Sonya on that 5th pick right there as well. But let's see what we do have for the bans. Gianna ban and a Federica ban. So we still have Dominic on the field. Big question is right now, Gojo, can you strip enough through a Hey Gang? Because that's going to be very difficult, because Gojo is similar on the strip rates as a Moore. Big difference is Gojo hits 2 or 3 times, and not always 3 times, where Moore always does 3 times. We got some attack bar boost going in over there. Do you actually send the S2 right now? Because if you send the S2, your Dominic might not move because you could get cut. Okay, ooh, decent performance. Yep, we have strips. Dominic still has the attack buff. Would you go for a skill 3 right now? I don't think you would go for it. Probably you just want to go for skill 1 stun on that. Ooh, goes for skill 3. I think he's aiming for provokes. Do we get provoke? We do get a perfect provoke right there on the Praha. That's the main provoker you wanted. Otherwise, you would lose that attack buff. So, big question is right now, if you do the defense on anything, Dominic is going to hit the other thing. So, in this case, we're going to go for that Fire Twin Angels for the damage. So, curious to see, Dominic, how much damage can you do on this? We tried to strip that attack buff, didn't get the attack buff. Dominic skill 2, how much damage? Nearly taking out a wrong element unit. 12k on that final hit, simply doing so much damage. It's definitely one of those things. If you drop it below 50% HP, it will be good for you. But second turn on that Dom, 12k again. Additional turn on this Dom. Dom is just, whoa! That is so much damage. The 3-turn attack buff worked out so well, taking out all of those units. Also the simple fact of that much damage on a Chandra, wow. It's also one of those units, might you think like, hey, should you start runing up a Dom again? I think it's kind of carried by the Kovaci. Kovaci does give that 3-turn attack buff, and that just so much amplifies the Dominic output on damage, but we're having a quick match at this where I would say at first I thought like, not too sure about the Gojo. Is it actually going to work out? But simply not stripping, that's Dominic. Dominic keeping the attack buff, getting the additional turn, cleaning Battlefield. That's what we're looking at right here. 9k per hit. Ooh, we're also getting so many additional turns on the side of Big V right there. And we have a clean victory right there. Well played by both players right there. Okay, I think we have one more match for a best of one, if I look at it correct. And then we're gonna go into, are the other matches best of threes? No, then we still have best of ones. And then the semifinals and finals are best of threes. So we still have a few more best of ones going in, but we have the last match of the round ones, which is going to be Lest against Error. So going to be curious to see. I always love casting matches of Lest. I also told him many times already, the man is super creative. He brings in units, like he was playing Chandra before Chandra was a thing. He was playing Charlotte when Charlotte was not a thing. He was bringing Sekhmet when Sekhmet was not a thing. He slept in Zyroses at random moments. He picks all of the crazy stuff, so curious to see. Also in the next match, it will potentially be Lest against Big V, which are actually two really good friends. They talk a lot, they share a lot of ideas on how to play the game, what to play the game with, and those kind of things. So that is going to be an interesting match as well. But first, Les would have to play against Error. So Error is actually a player I'm not too familiar with myself, but yeah, I'm just waiting to see what kind of plays Les is going to make, because he's always one of those players where he could lock in anything. Like a lot of the times when casting SWC is like, oh, he's gonna pick this, and then he's gonna pick that, and then this is the ban. Like he first picks an Oliver, first picks a Vanton. With Les, he could first pick a Driller. It's a two-way unit, no one uses that. But Les actually does use that. So let's see if he's gonna bring in something creative to the table. Maybe he's already adapting something new from the current meta. Maybe he's just playing Vanton. In the end, he does have his Function Law with a Light Gojo combination, which is super strong. So a lot of options he could actually play for. But then the big question is, what are you going to play for? That is what we see in that match pretty soon. So the two players are being set up right now. Let me know in the comments also, what do you think about this tournament thus far? Do you like the best of one setups with more players in there? Or would you rather see more best of threes with fewer players? That's always an interesting thing to know. But we have Les being seated right there. Let's see what he brings, because, man, I love casting his matches. Also, we saw that mostly, I bring back the time of Thailand SWC in 2023. He was just locking in units and then staring his opponents like, yo, what's your response on this unit? And then locking in the next unit and just showcasing a unit, take it away in the last second, lock in another unit, that kind of style. I've mainly seen him do that in Thailand. After that, not as much. Ooh, we see a Megumi on Dark being banned. Interesting, interesting. And on the other side, we have a Veronica. Veronica's making a lot of play here in China at the moment. So first pick, Vanton. Do we lock it in? No, Gianna. Interesting, I'm pretty sure Les does not have a Gianna. So Gianna first picking against a non-Gianna owner is not that good most of the time. Okay. Rakan. Yep, this is the last place. Yes, this is what I like to see. So showcase is something, take it away. Showcase something, take it away. We're still going to go for that Rakan. Interesting. It's also one of the very few players that goes for Rakan. Gojo is the steal over here because Les does also have that Gojo himself. Let's see what he's going to bring with that. Also, Chandra Rakan. That's fairly creative, man. You don't see that too much. Also, Twin Angels. We see multiple of these Chinese players actually having the Twin Angels runes. Me, myself, I don't have the Twin Angels runes for a very long time already. It is definitely still a strong unit with like the cooltime increase on the whole team, but is it going to be meta enough where it's usable enough? I would say definitely for all of the Twin Angels, Fire Twin Angels care the least about its skill 1 compared to, for example, the Wind one or the Water one. Those really needed the skill 1s. But for Fire, it's still usable. Also, Chakra, definitely playing on a similar-ish style that we also saw Pooh play. Going back to a FIFA Chell, I'm not too sure if FIFA Chell is really the right take over here. I think you have to be a little bit more speed contesting because units on the side of Lest are looking pretty fast. You also need a second speed lead. I could see an option right here for a Chiwu on the final pick, Megumi on the final pick. So there is, well, no, there's still two AoE strippers, but Gianna's not going to be that fast, and Megumi is not the most consistent of strips, so let's see how that works out. Les also currently looking at just one speed lead, finishes off the draft with a Josephine. Interesting, interesting. Full normal elementals on the side of Les. Bans. we're going to be banning out that Zhongxia. We do have, therefore, the Josephine on the field. Neither sides have sustain. However, there is semi-sustain by the Josephine by just putting up shields. So the shields will definitely still give some sustain right there. Ooh, that's seemingly also a swift Gianna by the speeds of that Gianna. Yeah, if you see the bar gap between all units, that's definitely a swift Gianna. So that's maybe why it becomes more first pickable. But the Gianna nerf is noticeable, and Chakra is actually not being controlled right now. Can still back control this with the stun over here. Does actually get the stun over there. Ooh, also the armor break sitting over there, but armor break will be gone fairly soon. You have to go for the skill 2, but how much that... Ooh, right away goes for skill 3. Interesting style. I guess he didn't want to have that bomb exploding, but therefore you also... You would have still had your additional turn. You would have had immunity. You were just taken... Maybe he was too scared of it, that it's too high on damage. Maybe the Rakan is not super high on HP, but I think I would have still taken the S2 into the S3. Maybe he also didn't want to give Megumi the buffs of you. That's definitely an option as well. Chakra, how much damage? Good bit of damage coming in. Bomb, yep, bomb sitting. Maybe he was also delaying the bomb so the Josephine passive could have rocked in later. That's also smart play right there. So Les is definitely one of those really smart players that he sees things that the other players don't see. That's just definitely one of those things. And this Chakra is also doing good bits of damage right here. Ooh, not too sure if that was the right call on getting that in over there, because you do give a shield and a counter right there. Once again, Josephine just doing a lot of work, taking out units, additional turn, back to the passive. Once again, Gianna's not really participating outside of that first bomb and that S3 that she did earlier on. And Lest is taking over the match, where it looked kind of grim for Lest at the start, but the moment his units just simply took turns, it worked out so well. And Fire Twin Angels, I don't really see the potential. Like, it was a good unit. I used to play it a lot too. But is it good enough? Skill 3 would potentially kill something right now. Double 3, but double 3. Yeah, are you gonna take out? No, that's not even remotely close to enough damage. Even on the attack buff. Like, sure, you were glance, so you were doing full glancing on wrong element, but not enough. It's not enough just yet. And I think this match will go to less. And it also does round up all of our first rounds with all of the players. Still trying to make the best out of it, but it's going to be a rough one. Like, getting your match in from here, it's definitely going to be a fairly rough one to still go through. Full HP of the segments, a lot of HP on that Chakra. Bomb not doing enough damage, but in most cases, Gianna's not really a main bombing kind of damage kind of unit. So there we have our victor being Lest going on to that next round. So these matches right now still best of ones going into the quarterfinals, semifinals. As mentioned, it's going to be best of threes, and finals is also going to be best of threes. So we had so many players going back and forth. For me, it's going to be hard to remember who played what and what kind of style. But we have Big C against Stan. Next match we got Lin against Icon. On the other side we have Kanjing against H-Frog, and then we have Big V against Lest. So Kaelin Bao is already taken out. Kanjing and Lest are still in there, which are definitely the warlords to be looking for. But then again, we saw Icon also play very well. We saw Lin also take out Kaelin Bao very well. So different playstyles can actually work. And we've seen a lot of different units already on the field, from like Shinx's making a comeback, but also comebacks on Twin Angels, Rakans, like so many units on the field right now. So here's to see if we're gonna go similar style in these rounds, or are we gonna be adapting based on the matches that you've seen prior. So that's always the thing, because you can't really adapt in best of ones outside of seeing like, hey, my opponent played this in his previous match. Let me actually look at what he used over there. So this is the match that we're gonna go in with Stan and Big C. Let's see what we have for pre-bans. Also, so far today, just one Oliver. We had one Oliver in the pre-ban and one Oliver being played, and then one Oliver that was played did win, but did not really do a lot in that match. So it's good to see some no Oliver matches again, because I would say we probably had Oliver as reigning first pick for, I think, 4 years right now. It's definitely been long. We go for a disrespect ban right there, and we have seen that before. It was actually Zepha in America's Cup. He pre-banned just a one-star unit, and he actually did mention in an interview later, he just banned that because the enemy was having all units that he was having, and therefore he didn't want to ban it out. But then again, if you're planning to play against someone that has like a Laura and those kind of things, not everyone also has a Laura, so we just be banning out LDs in most cases. So, but in this case, we do have a Bulldozer for the ban. On the other side, we do have a ban on that Avanton. First Shiho of the day, also a prior super common unit. Current meta a little bit less common, but still very strong unit. It's also funny to see how some units don't really get changed in the balance patch themselves, but anything around them gets changed in balance patch, so therefore they kind of jump in or out of meta. Ooh, also going back for Wind Twin Angels. Haven't seen too much of these neither, so let's see what that brings. Also still the combination of a Monkey, the Shiho, plus a Layla will make the Layla move in its first turn, which is always very strong. I do really like the counter with the Juno and the Hwoarang. However, big question is it going to be enough? No, we have the Juno being banned. Very strong unit over there on that field if it would be in. But also, once again, showcase of that Hwoarang. I definitely still think that this Hwoarang is super, super strong. It's always one of those units as well. It's like, oh, my unit got nerfed, now it's unplayable. Hwoarang is not unplayable. Hwoarang is super, super strong. It definitely did not get a Gurkha kind of treatment. Ooh, stun on the near to last hit. But hey, a stun is a stun. That's what you're looking for. Laura, can you perform all strips? Does not get the strip on the Gianna, so therefore this skill 2 is not at full effect. Did manage to stun one unit, however, but the Laura strip over there was super inconsistent. So Gianna will get her bomb off and will be able to stun things. Then again, Hwoarang has something to say about that. Okay, bombs. Where do you connect the bombs? Bomb is actually going to go for this NFL. Makes a lot of sense to two-turn the NFL. Does not get the Laura just there, but the Monkey does say, I will stun that for you. Big question right now, if you can start getting slows on this Hwoarang, you would definitely deny a lot of turns on him. But you can already see this Hwoarang is just picking up so much space. This Hwoarang was stunned, took a stunned turn, and still outspeeds a slow on the Twin Angels. Ooh, no, did not get it right there. Big question is, Twin Angels has all skills available, does not go for the Twin Angels just yet though. And can you take out this Annabelle? That's the big question. Is this bomb gonna be doing enough? Like, you have a little bit more of a chip hit over here. Is it gonna be enough? 11k was enough, and now we have a bomb rotation into the Hwoarang. I think we're gonna be saying goodbye to Stan over here, because Gianna actually did do a lot of value over here, but I would also say down value to that Laura not getting proper stunts in, because Laura had the S3, S2 rotation, but S3, S2 rotation doesn't do anything if you don't perform the scripts earlier, so it's really not going to do anything. And interesting to see, once again, fairly older meta units, or slightly older meta units, still perform very well over here in this matchup on the side of Big C. I think this is just a matter of time. It's also, I would say, I'm still not a big fan of Widget. Like, in this whole match, like, what did Widget actually participate in this match? He's kind of sitting like, I'm a speed lead, I give some bar, but was he really participating? I'm not a big Widget fan. Widget was actually super strong in that one meta where Widget was healing a crazy amount. He was like the best first pick there was. But ever since nerf, I'm not really feeling the Widget. It's just one of those units like, sure, it can give fast set to it, sure you can outspeed, you give a little bit of bar, but it's just not participating enough. It's not like a passive like a same as like, yo, you're healing. This is like, a little bit of chip heal to you, a little bit of chip heal to you, giving some defense buff, but you already had defense buff from the Laura. Do you really need a double on that one? Not really. So Widget, not a big fan. I definitely do think there's better units to put fast sets on in these kind of ways. So it's actually funny to see, like, from all of the units that are super meta, I haven't seen a single Athena yet, I haven't seen a single Sonya yet, I haven't seen a single Okeanos yet, no Ashur. There's so many good units in the meta right now that a lot of like slightly older meta units sometimes just kind of drift off. It's like, okay, wait, we can also use those. And there's just so many units good at the moment, which also does make it that drafting becomes pretty difficult, which is interesting to see. But then the big question, what is our next match? Who are we going to go into? This is going to be the match of Lin against Icon. Both of them actually played very well. I think Icon was the player with the Valeska and the Dark Demon on the other side. We had Lin sitting in with a comfortable playstyle of going very passive heavy, but that was the playstyle that he was using against Kalian Bao. Kalian Bao is always known to be playing some kind of turn one comp, full on AoE CC kind of style, and then it makes a lot of sense to play that. But against Icon, if you're playing against a Dark Demon, if you're playing against a Valeska, it's definitely a playstyle that you might want to be drafting slightly different into. Maybe you're looking more into resets, maybe you're looking more into anything. Well, let's see what we have. We're gonna go into the ban. I would say ban on that Valeska. Like that's one of those units. It's always just so simply so dangerous to play. Anything you kill, she will get bars, she will get the skill 2 off. It does so much damage. She's hard to control, and there we have it. Ban on that Valeska. Other side, we have a respect ban on the Nyx. Very understandable. They do a good work against Kalimba in the previous round. First picks. Do we go to Venton? Lin did showcase that he was very good into the Venton, going with the Riley and the Abellio. So that's definitely something that Icon has to keep in mind, that you might be facing off those units. Yes, once again, we're going for similar style units. We're adding in the Xingzi and we're adding in that Sekhmet. Other side, how do we respond? Because you have seen it with Kelly and Bob. If you full lock into AoE CC right now, you might have a pretty bad draft, because you can expect a Abellio to come in 3 or 4. You can expect a Riley to come in 3 or 4 if you're gonna go for full AoE style. It's locking in an Asher, definitely still on the speedy. Outspeeding that Sekhmet is an option. Speed leads, what are we looking at? Hey Gang. Hey Gang is not too bad into the Xingzi. It is okay, because every time that the Xingzi goes for a counter, it's uncontrollable, it can strip, and because of the strip, Hey Gang can give bar. And then also, you don't have to care as much about the Xingzi trying to get stuns in, because you get double bar from being a strip stun kind of style. On the other side, we do have that Abellio already coming in, makes a lot of sense, plus a Juno, so it could be a Riley in the 5th position right now. Definitely still liking the draft on the side of Lin. It's definitely countering the current meta, but it's showcasing a very strong potential of how to do it. So let's see what Icon can bring in this last match. Also, Valeska's banned. Ooh, definitely do liking a good old Fire Monkey. Would you go straight up go Fire Monkey plus a Misty? Yes, exactly what I was thinking. Exactly what I was thinking. Definitely a good recover on the draft, I would say, right there. That actually makes it for Lin maybe a little bit more difficult, because those two are like super heavy bruiser units. If you don't get death breaks on them at right moments, it's hard to take out those units. I could see a potential Chow for Lin in the 5th, and I'm banning out that Misty, potentially. That could definitely be strong. Ooh, Sonya, also good option, but Sonya can only take out a Misty. That's legit the only unit you can take out, so that would be a ban on Asher? No, you don't have to ban the Asher, you have to speed lead, so kind of depends like if you're comfortable enough in your Sonya speed, but Sonya's definitely here to take out that Misty. You could be banning the Mei Wang because of that, you could be banning that Venton. On the other side, I think you have to respect that Sonya, because Sonya will, like, it will clap your Misty straight up. Does go for a ban on that Mei Wang. So we will see Misty in the field. Misty is still a source of defense break. So Asher is sitting a little bit uncomfortable in his position right now. And once again, we'll have Sekhmet potentially going for a reset on that Venton. So Venton without the Thundered State does do a whole bit less damage. So let's see how he can bring that to the table. Sekhmet skill 3. Are you going to go? Yeah, you have to go into the Venton. You're not going to go for the Asher. It's not worth to go for the Asher. Do we connect? We do fully connect right there. Asher can go for the boost, but it's not really much value to go for a boost. Actually, all of your skills don't really have that much value. Okay, goes for that. That is definitely value. Trying to get yourself stunned and getting your attack bar up. That is definitely value that you could go for. But then the big question is, I definitely do think that Lin has a strong draft at this. Because at some point the Abellio will come up. The thing is, Misty S2 has to perform very well. If the Misty S2 gets an armor break and a heal block on this Sekhmet, do we get it? Yes, we actually get both. That is really strong right there. Because that is your potential to take out this Sekhmet. Because Sekhmet is not going to recover from that anytime soon. He's going to go for skill 3. I think he's just forcing in provokes. Did get provoke on 2. Is okay. But is it going to be enough? It is trying to keep this Sekhmet alive. But Sekhmet is not doing as much. Tech break on the Misty is not doing too much value neither. It's going to be the big question, like Abellio plus a Xingzi into the Misty. Ooh, the additional turn. The additional turn. This is going to be a rough hit right here. You have to go for the Thundered State. That's going to be a lot of damage. However, the Juno will like all of those debuffs that she's getting right here. Damage on the other two, not as much just yet. However, I can still see that the Abellio has good value. It's all eyes on the Misty. Like, Misty really has to perform like some late solos coming into this match. Also, do take, ooh, not trading 1-for-1 just yet. Misty, where's your damage gonna connect? Are you gonna go? I think you have to go into the Abellio now. Goes for the Abellio, slows it. Healing from the Juno, good healing right there. Would you go for an S2 to try to stun and take it out? S2 might not be enough damage though. That's one of those tricky things. Does go for an S2. Is this enough damage? 3.7k was enough damage right there. So, Venton, how much can you do against these units that you're trying to counter right now? Because he has near to no damage on this Monkey. This Monkey is super tanky. Most likely a crit rate slot 4, HP 6 and some minus damage on fire right there. Ooh, this time around, Misty not connecting that Death Break. The thing is, if you kill this Monkey right now, I don't think there's any kind of way to kill this Misty, because you need the Monkey to Death Break the Misty, then Abellio can go for a really good hit. But without that, it's simply not gonna happen. And ooh, did not get a slow, but the heal block is just working so well. AoE provoke once again, that is strong, that is super strong. Because Abellio can definitely handle those hits from those other units. Death Break, sit it at. Okay, counter. Does Abellio have the S2? Is that going to be enough damage? Ooh, he's silenced! Plus the additional turn on the Venton. Venton can go for another round of Steel 2. Will you take out the Monkey? At least attack breaks. Does not fully take out the Monkey, but it is far enough pushback that this Misty will lap it for sure. Juno, ooh, also not just on the turn. If we get an additional turn back right now and you double hit the Misty, you could potentially take out the Misty. No additional turn right there. So, but we do have some good healing. So, where Venton was doing good bit of damage, it was simply not enough. Once again, Death Break, heal block, getting both, but the Death Break what's coming on is one of the latest hits, so therefore not as much damage. Additional turn, ooh, we're gonna go for another round on this Misty, and Misty cannot proc out of those defense breaks because it's sitting at a vampire set, so I think that additional turn right there might seal the deal, taking out units right there. Lots of damage coming in. Yeah, Abellio is about to move. Abellio S2, you will definitely take this out when Abellio S2. It's nearly not even needed anymore. This Juno on Death Break is just simply taking out Misty. Misty is still a super strong unit, but it also does show that into a Bruiser setup, Misty is not as great. I feel like Misty is better into like a control kind of setup, but I definitely like the idea of a Mei Wang and a Misty as the latest two picks right there. However, Lin chose that turn 2 with Jingzi. Like, I've seen a few people try out Jingzi. It did not feel that strong, but Lin is showcasing is like, if you pair it with a Sekhmet, working out very well. Definitely did work out very well. So let's see what the next match will bring, because we have 2 more matches of best of ones, and then we're actually gonna go into best of 3. So we have H-Frog against Kanjing coming up in that next match. Definitely both as decently heavy on the LB players, I would say. So yeah, let's see what they can bring. Especially with that Yanhong of Kanjing. That Yanhong of Kanjing does so much work. It's just so super, super fast. And the faster you are, the more damage you also do. So that's just one of those things. And you can be pretty tanky while doing the damage, because your damage comes more from speed and crit rate rather than attack or anything. So yeah, let me know in the comments as well. Who is your favorite to win in this one? Kanjing against H-Frog. Looking at the bans, what are we going to be looking in for those bans over here? Ooh, actually normal elemental bans on both sides. Interesting. Megumi being banned, and we have the Shiho being banned right there. I haven't seen those, neither of those in the ban just yet. First pick. Do we go for first pick on the Venton? Yanhong Steel, also definitely a potential. If you have a unit and you know your enemy signature unit will be picked anytime soon, it's definitely a good go for a Steel right there. So Kanjing has to be playing without that. Steel goes back to the Oliver. Last time around, Oliver, it did win, but did not do so much in that match, going back to an early Gianna. Is that going to be... We have seen Swift Giannas more than Vio Giannas in this tournament thus far, so let's see if this is Swift or Vio. Inosuke. Do we go for Inosuke in combination with like a Layla, I would say? Or a Venton? Yep, Venton it is. Kanjing, what is your answer to those units? So far there's a lot of threats on the side of H-Frog, but there's nothing so, like insta-killing anything. So it will definitely take multiple turns to actually get anywhere. Definitely would say that anything along the lines of a NFL would do really good, especially if you pair NFL with a Hwoarang right now so you don't get NFL'd on your Hwoarang. That could be a strong combination right there. What is his final pick? Going for a Hey Gang. I'm not... Hey Gang is understandable because it's more of a steal rather than pick yourself, and you're still playing against it in Inosuke. But is it a super strong pick right there? I'm not 100% sure on that right there. So let's see what H-Rock does have as an answer. Once again, Coco. Coco doing pretty well in the previous rounds. Sitting at a comfortable Swift set. So is it, or no, was actually sitting at Fio, but would you maybe put it on Swift faster than your Yeonhong? Ooh, Shizuka. I haven't seen Shizuka so far today just yet. I could see an option where you could go for a Juno, banning out the Coco. Could be an option on the side of Kanji. But is that what he wants to go for? Sonya or something definitely does not have the upper hand or that much value in this match. Songchen Lao, I'm also not too sure if you're going to get your turns off with a Songchen Lao. Ooh, still opting for Sonya. I do know that he has a super strong Sonya, so in that case, you almost are forced to ban out the speed lead of the enemy side because you only have one speed lead. You could ban out Yeonhong, but then you will probably get outspeed yourself. And the Inosuke does not care about elements for the S3, so pushback would potentially still land. So let's see what we have for bans. Speed lead being taken out, and we have the Phantom being taken out on the other side. So in this case, I would assume Inosuke, well, Yeonhong and Inosuke will take first turn, and then the Sonya might be kind of in an off position right here. Also, we did see that Coco absolutely destroy Light Hwoarang in a previous round, so let's see if that works out. Going into the match, first turn belongs to, ooh, actually second turn would have been on that Sonya. That Sonya's outspeeding an Inosuke. That is insane though. That is absolutely insane. But yeah, since the rotation is there, Shizuka's also being a little bit off. You kind of have to go for strip into a stun and then spreading the stun with the Inosuke, or with the Shizuka. That could have been a play. Because sure, you're taking a lot of first turns right now, but you're actually not doing anything with any of those turns. Like, sure, cool, you took a lot of turns, now what? That's definitely a question. I think it's going to be, yeah, I think you have to gamble for bomb on that, yes. Scale 3, might be less on stuns. Nope, Gianna nerf did absolutely nothing. If Shizuka procs out, I could still see a way. Ooh, against the speed lead, this Sonya is crazy strong. Also, it is somewhat common that a Shizuka is a death tank, so maybe that's like a crazy amount of attack as well, but doing 44 or like 43k, that's, wow, this has to be the best Sonya in the game, man. That is just so much damage. Taking out the Shizuka, where the Shizuka has a speed lead, you don't have a speed lead. Wow. That's a lot of damage. I really want to see, like, for the after party, I have one objective. I want to see that Sonya. That's just absolutely bonkers on stats. Probably I'm not allowed to tell you guys, but I want to see the stats on that thing. Holy, that's just simply so much damage coming in. But also right now, we have the final of the quarterfinals right now of Big V and Last. And those two, I did mention it before, are very good friends. So let's see what the two gentlemen can bring to the table in these kind of matchups, because they probably do scrim a lot against one another. They really know each other's playstyles, their boxes, how the room quality is. But let's see how he brings to the stage, because I think they have a few overlapping LDs. I think they both have a light Gojo. Outside of that, I think a Zhongchun Lao. I think that those are the two overlapping LDs between the two players. But then again, we have Gianna sitting on the side of Big V. Two Giannas sitting on the side of Big V, actually. And we have a Yeonhong sitting on the side of Lest. However, Lest is also known to not be playing his LDs as much. He really still likes to play the normal elemental units. We saw his Rakan in the previous one. We saw his Chandra. We saw Chakra. Those are definitely the units that he would be playing around. But then again, can you do that against Big V, which is also known to be very fast? Actually, I do remember Big V in one of his old videos for America's Cup. He just simply said, I'm the fastest player there is. That is, I would say, 3-4 years ago. So it's been a while since. But he's definitely still a very, very fast player. So let's see what they will bring to the table in this matchup. It's definitely with Lest, I always love. Like I mentioned it before, I love watching the matches of Les because this guy can play anything. It goes any kind of shape or way. Also, his last match, it looked pretty close at some point, but then he still made it back with the Rakan. Pre-bans, what are we looking at? Driller and Tian Lang. Interesting pre-bans right there. Driller is one of those things that Les sometimes uses, but also sometimes just simply not at all. So it's one of those pre-bans like, is he actually gonna use that? I would have said, ooh, steal of the chakra. Yeah, that's where you know right away these two players know each other's playstyle. They know what is runed up and they know what they want to play. So then again, Les can potentially go for a Leo in a late pick. Okay, once again going for that Kovaci. Ooh, yeah, that was the Kovaci-Dominic combination that was absolutely destroying units. So let's see if we go back to that. We have the Megumi on a Dark being locked in. Very strong as well. Also, both players, like, they have seen this draft before, man. They're locking in units so fast, especially Big V, locking in all of those units super fast. Triton, also a unit that wasn't used as much before, but currently is actually really strong. We have one speed lead apiece. And the big question is, like, who's going to be faster, a Dark Megumi? Or is it going to be a... Yeah, because I expect the Triton ban, or you go for speed lead ban is also an option. But no, I think you have to go for Triton ban. Yeah, Triton ban on one side. Then it's the big question, it's the race for the Gojo versus the Megumi in most cases. And then also the big question, do you strip and do you push back enough? No, Lest is super fast because this unit has lower base speed than the other one. Oh, but there's one issue though. Did not get the strip on the Gianna, so can still go for skill 3. And Rakan has to land everything over here. But this Megumi is super fast. Different Megumi, Dark Megumi in this case. Okay, ooh, did not get the provoke, Gianna. Gianna is available for the S2 and the S3. S3 might not land on everyone. Is Gianna nerfed? Gianna's not nerfed, but Gianna misses on the Rakan. That is huge. Rakan, you can start going for counters. Rakan is actually, outside of resisting, he's hella chilling. Like, he's not doing any of his counters at the moment. Could have went for those counters, but Rakan is potentially taking over this match. Do you dare to go for an S2? You might get stunned in the process. You might get countered in the process. Does go for the S2. Do you strip? Everything is resisting on this Rakan. I'm feeling that this Rakan is 100 res or something weird. That definitely could be a less play right there. It's like, oh, by the way, my unit is 100 res, haha. So let's see if this one actually stripped. Chakra in most cases has a little bit lower accuracy because you just add a lot of tank stats. Yeah, I think it is. I think it is 100 res Rakan. That is so interesting, wow. But he's still having a, since the Rakan is not really doing the counters that much, it's not doing enough on this battlefield right now. Also, you have a potential cleanse sitting from this Gojo. Light Gojo, do you go for the cleanse? Yep, does go for the cleanse. Counters, one counter. Rakan is really not working on the counters though. That's the only thing that Rakan is really not doing. He's resisting everything. He's really not doing anything on the counters. Dots. I think that is 4.9% HP. No, it was 5.1% HP. And we live. If you take an additional turn right now, it might flip the match. Does not take the additional turn. Takes the additional turn on the other unit though. Rakan has to do a lot of work bringing this match back though. Match is not over just yet. It's super close. Stun sitting over there. Chakra, are you gonna do enough damage? You don't really care too much about elements. No, it's actually gonna go for the other unit, but Rakan does have another provoke potentially coming in. Does go for the provoke. Resisted on the Gianna. Gianna would have had skills available, but this Rakan takes the additional turn, takes out the Gianna. If you did not have that additional turn, you would not have taken it out. However, we do have this Rakan taken out, and now it's a Gojo against a Megumi, and Megumi's not gonna like that because the Gojo is at way higher HP. And we have the victory going to Big V. Very well played on both players right there, but also interesting to see that the Rakan was countering absolutely nothing. He was resisting everything, but then he was like, I'm a rock. I'm a rock, I don't move. I don't want to jump, not today, ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen, and that also does say it sometimes where you just simply lose the match because your unit's like, I'm not participating. I'm kind of trying to do my part, but I'm not really participating. So that also sums it up for all of the quarterfinals. So after that, we're going to be going into semifinals, and semifinals are going to be best of 3. So curious to see if Lin can make it with his playstyle that he's currently doing, because I think out of all of the players that we have seen here today, all of the 16 players, I would say Les definitely very unique playstyle with the Chandra and Rakan. But I would say Lin even more unique on the playstyle with the Xingzi and the Sekhmet. And can you bring that all the way to a finals? Is that going to work? Or is it in a best of 3 where people have more adaptability against it? Is it going to fall off a little bit more there? And then on the other side, we have Kanjing. Man, that's Sonya. That Sonya damage, that is just absolutely insane. So much damage, while not even having enough speed. Like, you did not have the speed lead. Your enemy has speed lead. You still got 43k on a unit that's potentially a def tank as well. So it was definitely not def tanking that. But then you also need so much attack. You need so much crit damage to do the damage. You need so much speed. This is definitely one of the best Sonyas ever. Like, I mostly called out Obabo Sonya for being one of the best Sonyas. I think Kanjing is probably better than Obabo for this Sonya right there. So yeah, that's also, Kanjing is difficult to play against. Like, it did not really, I mentioned it before, SWC this year, it did not really work out for him. He lost against Guts, but he also did say he was super nervous, crowd and everything, and this is a lot more of a relaxed tournament. Sure, these guys definitely still want to go for the Ws, they definitely do want to win over here, but it's also a little bit more chill, relaxing, not that much on the line. And that's where you can really see Kanjing shines a lot. And I definitely do expect to see a lot more of Kanjing in coming SWCs. So match that we have is going to be Big C against Lin and Kanjing against Big V. So we actually have 2 players from Big still in there. We started with 2, we still have 2. And I think we're gonna go into a little bit of a break. Wait. I do see something over here to also give to you guys. I read something about codes. Codes? Well, let's see if we get any of those. But most of the time with these tournaments, there's always something to give away on that. So also, let me know once again in the comments, who was your favorite playstyle of today? I think I see break on my background right now. I am not 100% sure if I'm in break as well. So that's the only thing I'm looking at the back end. Am I in break?
个全球的那个工会联赛排名第一的那个工会的，应该是会长吧？
Yeah.
对 ，Yeah。所以他们的那
Got a
个
master.
防守阵容是
Got
很
a
厉害
master.
的。
You got a master.
Okay.
Yeah. Right.
我们还想线下跟他去学习一下那个世界工会的那个防守据点。
对
现在我们看一下比赛。我们看一下那个林少去要一般那个大海的个什么魔灵吧。
对，然后看一下海子哥林少，来这边还是
比较要帮掉的那个暗爹。
对，暗爹，说实话，这个对比赛的进展是有非常大影响的。林少还是一选疯猴子。
对。有没有人？你可以说一下。对。
Okay. Let's see. So I'm gonna do it in English because actually my vocabulary for this game is absolutely non-existing in my Chinese. But we see comfortable units once again. Lin going in with this comfortable comp, adding in his Xingzi, probably pairing it up with a segment later. Big question is, do you already know that you can outspeed that monkey on the other side? Actually, Lin is going for a comfortable pick on a Vent Hunt right there and a Hey Gang.
对，这个猴子的话，其实也是非常常选的这个魔灵啊。然后看到林少这一场也是基本上每一场都是先选了这个疯猴子，所以他可能整个体系来说也是围绕疯猴子本次加强比较大的一个魔灵来做 BP。
Ooh, we're going in for a Chandra and a Veligil. Comfortable picks of like more of an older style of meta that we see over here on the side of Big C. On the other side, ooh, Artemil. Haven't seen Artemil in a very long time, but there's a lot of crit units on the enemy side. I'm very curious to see Artemil poster boy of the game. It's just the logo of the game. Can it actually do very strong? And once again, Lin is locking in all units with passive. Lin does not want to play that third skill.
对，这次的话，其实看到这个官方选出来之后，我们这个朋友也是感觉非常兴奋啊，因为好久没有看到官方在赛场上出现了。本次的话呢，也是有个大的加强，然后它解放了官方的这个爆率的这个限制，可以让它有更多的面板去堆肉、去堆伤害，或者是甚至说去堆速度。那么看一下官方这一场的发挥会怎么样？
Oh, last back on that Layla. Let's see what it's actually doing against the whole draft because there's so many potentials for counters that I'm not too sure if that Layla pick right there is going to be good. Also, looking at the ban right now, do we have to respect that Artemil? I really hope the Artemil makes it into the game.
这场看一下，最后还是要把这个风马灯给搬掉，然后对面的话是把水化搬掉了。那么现在官方是可以放出来了。官方放出来的话，其实对面有个水河上啊，这是必爆的。然后猴子这边多段攻击也会触发爆率。那么看一下官方这场发挥会不会比较好一点？
Let's see what we have. First turn will go to the Shio. Shio, can you connect your stuns? That's the big question. But also, Artemil, how much are you going to do after that? Does connect the stun on one of the very first hits, but we have a double count going in there, already removing that invisibility.
看一下这下继续再晕一下，没有晕到。
Ooh, Baozo, additional turn right there. Getting in the sanctuary on all of the units right now. So we're looking at full 3 turns on the immunity on all of the units. So Artemil has to start stripping those off.
看猴子现在面对全部都是免疫，也很难打一个输出。看官方还是选择先加了一个防御，然后续航一下。因为有盾的存在，这下也没有造成很多的伤害，但是晕到了3个，效果还是非常不错的。
No stuns on this Artemil. Artemil slowly stacking up right there. Artemil is being stunned right now, so it's not going to be countered in just a bit. But the moment that Artemil comes online, gets more and more stacks, it's just going to do so much damage. We're looking at 4 stacks right now. Additional turn on this Vent Hunt into the Thundered State. How much damage are we dealing?
看一下这下伤害怎么样？火雷神暴走这下也是很关键啊！决定先不开技能吗？还是要等一等？
Still nothing going in on this Artemil. We're getting stuns over here. Do we actually get it? No. Oh, very late stun adding in over there. But once again, invisibility being removed by this Artemil.
好，这下这个火雷神血量已经非常低了，可能要直接被带走了。先晕一下官方，让官方不要再动了。
Units being taken out already, left, right, and center. Also stuns looking in, but
Artemil
goes off. No death breaks just yet. The only thing is things are not critting that much. Artemil is not having a lot of value, and we have a sanctuary coming in from that Veligil.
这场的看的话，其实就是这边控制对，控制太多的话，其实对光方啊，像凤猴子这种靠反击来的魔灵，其实他发挥空间其实是有限的，因为他如果一直被控，他就没办法打出他应有的效果来了。
Finally, there's some death break from that unit right there, but it's being removed already. But also, Artemil is trying to do good damage, but it's not really doing it just yet. Also, another rotation from the third skill coming in, nearly taking out the Artemil, but Artemil comes in with some healing.
对，这下光方没有被晕中也是非常好啊，然后上一个加防，但直接被偷掉了，被破防状态下的这个光方很危险。看猴子继续捅。
Artemil's gonna die with the defense break. Actually, still lives with 1 HP, but this Magumi will take it out, and I think that might be a match.
最后一下还是被补掉了。那么现在胜利的天平向海子哥这边开始倾斜。
Yeah, this moment is just waiting. Definitely Josephine is not gonna be taking this match, but once again, this is a best of 3, so we're gonna go way further than we did before. Now players can actually adapt to the draft back and forth and see how they want to counter it in next rounds.
对，所以看到其实对面有水帕的情况下面，因为这边控制实在是太多了，水帕根本解不过来。
And there you have it, Big C with the first victory against Lin. But as mentioned, best of 3 this time around. Let's see what we adapt in the draft and also in the pre-bans.
看一下第2场，其实林少这边的话。 可以选择是不是更先手一点的阵容会好一点？因为看到海子哥这边控制太多了，光靠一个水帕根本解除不过来。然后虽然说有很多反击的角色，但一直被控在原地，根本抬不起头。
Let's see what we have for the pre-bans. Definitely taking their time on pre-bans. Maybe we're finding some awkward units like an Artemil on the pre-ban. Was it dangerous enough where you just simply don't want to play it? It did kind of perform, but in the end, it was still taken out by Shiho. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Shiho in the pre-ban or even the Megumi. What do we have? Shiho is in the pre-ban. On the other side, we do not see a Phantom.
对，也是看到林少这次还是果断的要把猴子给ban掉了。猴子，3技能稳定晕，然后2技能还有个群晕，其实对控制队来说确实是非常好的一个挂件。看一下海子哥这边一选会选个什么呢？
Going back to a Chandra pick, so it's probably going to be pairing up with that Valigil, but not if you steal the Valigil. Really well played by Lin right there.
啊，林少这边没有，还是继续选择了风猴子，还有这个火方舟，比较朴实无华的阵容啊。看一下后面几手会不会有一些变化。
Let's see what we have. Ooh, going into some heavy bruiser units already. This definitely looks like an older style of meta with the Bracuni in there. Could be even looking something towards a Miles, but we're also countering it with other old units. We have a Verdio and an Irene over there.
对，看火猴子还有火哈格这边选出来，其实对前2手是有压制力的。但是林少这边反手马上掏出来了一个水马灯，水马灯对后手的压制力非常强，它可以一下子把别人吃掉，然后把他的挑全部吃回来，并且它有一个掉血的一个行为，然后火系的话可以帮助他快速的套圈。
Ooh, also an older style right there with a Zeratul. Interesting play right there to see it. If Lin had potentially a Seimei right now, would absolutely be a nice lock-in right here. But then again, there's also not too much sustain on the side of Big C in this whole draft. So, ooh, Duman super strong. Absolutely like the pick right there.
对，看大海这边掏出了火沙漠，其实对对方是有一个压制力。 然后再看一下这边林少，最后掏出了一个暗玉术，也是打入队非常好用的一个魔灵。
So now we're gonna see it. Is Zeratul actually nerfed? Is it noticeable where he's not healing as much, or is it still a very, very strong unit?
好，看一下现在是不是直接给这个哈格挂一个大招呢？还是先清？ OK， 那这样子让按钮它如果开大的话，它会迅速的死亡，然后再套一个把猴子吃掉。
Ooh, there we have the curse landing on everything, also the box landing on everything, and Lin is sitting at a super comfortable position. It's also just simply after 4 turns, this Zeratul will say goodbye and it's not coming back. So you can't really go for skill 2 right now. Zeratul's actually just a sitting duck.
现在按钮已经处于生死存亡的最关键的时刻了，他已经很难有很好的发挥了，身上套了一堆 debuff。好，
Yeah, it's definitely an interesting draft over here where there's just not too much firepower if your Zeratul leaves the battlefield, and I think we're going to be looking at that pretty quickly, and I think we're going to go also in the first best of 3 all the way best of 3 because this Zeratul is simply not doing it. The Raccoon can't really help that. The Mayo Wing is also being controlled right now, but the moment that the curse is gone on the Zeratul, the curse will go towards that monkey, so you have to try to get any kind of shape of way of trying to kill this Dumon because Dumon is just being so oppressive right now.
看猴子这下能不能破甲？破甲了，还有点输出。但是现在暗流被抬走了，靠一个猴子想要打对面4个也很难啊，因为马上这个暗域的大招要好了，暗域大招好了，挂给下一个魔灵，那么下一个魔灵即使也没有办法吃到哈格的治疗，并且他会一直掉血。
We are 1 turn away from that curse once again. So the moment the curse lands on this monkey, I think that is game because it's simply not taken out. The monkey has to do all the work to try to kill her as soon as possible. But just simply, Irene is coming back with the skills soon. Dumon has the skills available. Can you actually do enough? Because now you also can provide protection. It's actually gonna put Monkey in the back. I think he should have not put Monkey in the back, but we already have concede right there. I think he could have played it slightly safer by landing the skill 3 of the Dumon rather than going for the Irene skill 3 over there.
对的，看到林少这边其实打弱队有自己非常独特的一套打法。其实这套胜率打弱队来说应该是非常高的，只要他技能能够命中。 对方的话就一直会处于少一个人，并且有一个人吃到暗域大招的情况，没办法继续加血去打一个续航。
Once again, going back to the same pre-bans as round 1, we have Nyx and Gianna not participating in this field, so we probably will go back to Ventons and Chihos.
对，我们看到还是跟第一场一样的 pre-ban， 然后看一下林少和海子哥这边会不会选择同样的打法，还是说会有一些新的思路的转换。
Ooh, once again going for that steal on that Veligil right there, which normally is definitely not the first pick, but that's also what you once again see. Best of 3s, people start adapting to the other draft, so Lin definitely had his issues playing against that Veligil, so just simply taking it out. But on the other side, Big C, we do see comfortable picks with the Shiho and Megumi.
这边还是选择了同样的海子哥，还是选择了火腹黑还有水猴子，然后这边还是依然选择了风猴子和这个水僧。
Let's see Chandra and the Xingzi. Once again, Lin is really holding on to that Xingzi, trying to get that in for every round. So let's see what the common counter is going to be against that. Last time around we had units like the Raccooni and the Zeratul. This time around completely different. We have a Phantom and we have a Layla.
对，看到海子哥还是把风马灯还有火雷神掏出来，这2个魔灵也是他用的非常好的，并且风马灯确实对对方的这个场上阵容有非常大的压制力。看一下林少最后2手，上场的话是选了水帕还有光方，看下这次会不会有一些变化。
Yeah, it's the common counters that he also used against Kali and Bao before. Well, not the NFL, but definitely the Abelio. Abelio is really strong into these kind of comps. Juno would definitely be fitting better, and that's also exactly what he locks in.
对，水德对这边雷神的克制力还是不错的，但考虑一下是不是还是要把这个马灯搬掉。那么海子哥是不是可以考虑以马灯被搬掉的前提下，然后再做最后一手 BP， 看一下这样子会不会取得一些反转的一些优势。
Let's see, once again, finishing off the draft with the Raccooni. I'm not too sure. Raccooni in the last match did not really do that much. In this case, sure you're trying to find a healer, but is Raccooni really the best option for you?
对，最后一手选出火哈格的话，我觉得可能是不是要把对面的水德给搬掉了？因为我觉得大概率可能林少是不是还是会搬掉这边的风马灯，这样子对方就没有那么强的控场能力。那么看到也是跟我们猜想的一样啊，搬掉了马灯还有水德。
Once again, the ban on the Abelio, which definitely does make a lot of sense. That is the biggest counter to the Phantom itself. Layla on the other side being banned, so let's see what we can do with those matchups. Also, big question right now, can we connect the stun resistance over there? We're not connecting the stun.
看一下第2下还是补到了晕，但是有个暴走马上解掉了，免疫开出来之后，看这边好像没有更多的解除免疫的效果了。
We're just simply looking at full Sanctuary right now, and it will take some more turns to actually get anything in. While the Raccooni can actually boost something up, and you can go for steals right there. It's actually going to give for a boost himself. I think we should have given the boost towards the Raccooni to try to strip something for this Phantom so he can actually go for proper pushbacks. Because right now, you can't really do too much with this. If you had the Raccooni move first, you would have had a lot more value out of that pushback.
看 看到这边林少也是非常弱啊，一个火雷神虽然说头上挂了免疫，但是这个大招效果打上去确实不太好。然后方舟一个2技能又奶回来了血量。
We have the protection sitting on with that defense right now, but we're also giving a lot of bar to this Megumi, so we need to simply strip that off right away. Did actually not manage to strip it off, takes the additional turns, does strip it off just now, but it's counted in the process.
看雷神这下能不能带走这个火方很关键啊！火方还差最后一下猴子一个2技能，好也是成功带走，并且晕到了这边的水和尚。
It's actually interesting to see that the immunity on the Juno was very counterproductive because normally you would have had way more buffs on the Juno or debuffs on the Juno, therefore buff on the Juno. But right now, since he was sitting comfortably on that immunity, simply nothing was happening. So it is Phantom just doing so much work in his whole matchup.
看到这边推条还有沉默真的是非常厉害啊！毁了神2段的推条，然后猴子也是把这边晕住了，但一个反手的暴走。
Yeah, it's going to be a hard match for Lin at this position. Sure, the Juno could still do a lot of work, but you're definitely in an uphill battle right now. You have to take out this Megumi. You also have to take... Ooh, try to go for strip. Get 2 good stuns, but actually the main thing, strip, was not strip.
但效果还是不错的，看一下能不能把这个水深赶紧带走。带走之后，这边输出还是够的。虽然说对面有个火耗可以解，但是好像也解不过来了。 恭喜海子哥
Very well played by Big C over there. In the end, the Raccoon, I was questionable at first when I saw it, but it worked out very well for him.
哦，好了，我们可以常看到大海善用他的那个火哈格，
对，
那个火哈格那个基本上把他那个节奏全都打出来了。
是的，火哥一直在不停的给队友回血啊，然后这场又没有对面的一个暗域术的一个阻碍，所以说让他这边的回复能力非常的强。虽然他对面林少一直在集火这个火符黑，但是火符黑一直血线就那么一点，就那么一点就打不掉。
往上拉。 大 V 嘅決賽，4-1決賽。
哦。
哎呀，半決賽依家係，但係 Big V 同埋康堅2位大佬有啲咩發揮咧？
And we are back over here. Just did one cast, one round with the Chinese commentators. So it was half Chinese, half English. A little bit of a different vibe to it. But we have 3 more matches coming, so we have 1 more semi-final and then the finals coming in. So curious to see. This is going to be a real good match, man. I want to see that Sony on Kanjing. I definitely... Ooh, Gianna banned and a Zhongsheng Lao being banned. Well, let's see what the 2 gentlemen can bring on that one. Definitely going to be looking out for that Sonya once again. Kofachi on the side of Big V once again. Yep. Do we still go back to Oliver for Kanjing? Kanjing is the only player that still wants to go back to Oliver. I definitely do think because he really likes the speed on Yan Hong and Sonya to kill things. But is that going to be enough though? That's the big question. Rakan on the side of Big V, so definitely taking one out of the Book of Lest right there. Pairing that up with Inosuke. Definitely do see the option for Kanjing to rock in the Yan Hong, Sonya kind of style. He definitely will need some form of strips for this Phantom, otherwise the Phantom is simply not doing anything. Yan Hong is a form of strips, Twin Ages, definitely a good option for that. Let's see what we do pair that up with. The other side, Big V. A lot of options he could go for speed contesting still. Could also go for Megumi. Yep. Looking at Megumi, AoE, speed contesting it is with Shiho. Definitely a style where the Kovachi is a little bit more awkward than previous matches, but it still does work because of the immunity. Big question is right now, yep, Chiwu. I was thinking the same, like you need speed lead and you need strip. Best option you have over there then. Well, Inosuke is one of those, but Chiwu is definitely another one. Big question is, are you fast enough though? Because your Chiwu is definitely not going to be fast set. Yan Hong is going to be fast set, but I expect Yan Hong to be banned. Other side, you most likely have to be banning out the Chiho. Because it's 2 speed leads apiece. Banning speed leads doesn't do anything. So you have to be starting on banning fast units. Or you ban Vanton and expect that the team of Kanjing doesn't have enough CC to actually do anything. Ooh, no, we're actually... Yan Hong ban makes a lot of sense, but the Megumi ban, not that much. Sure, the Megumi would have overtaken the turn, but I think that's a risk you have to take. 50-50 on the glancing is definitely not that bad. Both speed leads. Let's see where we have the first turn. We actually have both turns going towards the team of Big V. So in this case, even if he banned out the Shiho, the Inosuke would have still moved faster. So that's also a very fast set from Big V on that Inosuke. Big question is, if you push back 1, yeah, you need to do more than 1 pushback though. However, 1 unit is already stunned. That part is good. Can potentially stun this as well. Ooh, huge stun over there. That's absolutely huge stun. So now it's all eyes on the Rakan. Rakan, can you actually land your provokes and everything? Ooh, not fully landing the provokes. Does get the additional turn though. This Rakan is a lot more active for the counters right there, taking in a lot of counters. That is exactly what the Rakan wasn't doing of last. But this Rakan is going for all the counters possible. Plus good stuns from this Monkey already. This is definitely a GG kind of match because, yep, we know it over here as well. Kanjing is like, there's no way I can come back from this one. But that Inosuke has to be on a very fast set because 33 lead was still outsped. Sure, Inosuke has a little bit higher base speed than the Chiwu. But then again, Chiwu is most likely on your 5th or 6th speed set. It's never super fast. Well, also the Inosuke is only a few speeds less on the speed lead. It's 28, it's not at 24. Gianna ban and the Kovachi ban. Yeah, Kovachi is definitely the main pick of Big V thus far. Kanjing, do we still go back to an Oliver first pick? This was also the first time that Kanjing actually went for the Phantom, but it did not work out. Sierra on the first pick, okay. When Gianna's banned, Sierra on the first pick, kind of like your odds more on Oliver, to be honest. It does lock it in though. On the other side, do we go for an early Megumi? Nope, we go for an Inosuke plus a Phantom. Kanjing, what are we locking in? Are we gonna go for speed contesting? That is the big question. Definitely Yan Hong Xiara is not a bad combo neither. Songshen Lao is available this time too. Back to the Twin Angels. Could see a world where he goes for a last pick on the side of Kanjing for a Oliver plus Sonya. Megumi Asher, ooh, definitely on the fast pace there as well. These two players are definitely racing against one another. But if you go 33 lead plus Sonya right now, well, the only thing is you can't really Sonya anything on the field. That's the big issue. Like if you were to able to Sonya a Phantom, it would be really strong, but that's definitely not something you want to do. Songshen Lao, yep, but do you have another speed lead though? He's kind of running out of time. I think he's just locking countable units. Yeah, Oliver. Okay, 1 AoE strip, but single target strips can kind of do as well, but the big issue is you're gonna get outsped. The Oliver's not really gonna add anything to the field. I think this is the case where Kanjing should have went for a switch on his draft and draft more towards the style of Lin and go for like Abellio Juno. Because Abellio Juno would definitely be really good. Because in this case, it's 100% a ban on your Yeonhong and you're gonna get outsped. I think the best thing that Kanjing can do is probably ban out the Inosuke. Because then it's just looking at single target strips. And you maximum get 2 single target strips first on, and then your other units can maybe take over. Yep. Oh, we're actually banning out the Twin Angels. Interesting. Because this gives an option where Kanjin takes first turn. The first turn of Kanjing, he could potentially... Is there a rotation where you can take out... Can you take out the Fenton in one clean sweep? That is the big question. Okay, ooh, Asher's still cutting after this. But he also had to do it on the... Yes, ooh, very good additional turn. Luck of the try, but a very good additional turn right there. In this case, I think I would go for an S3. Because if you... Oh no, wait, actually for S2 is totally fine because your enemies are outspeeding you anyways. So the Rakan will have a clean hit after this. Good damage on this Vanton. Still have to drop the bomb on the Vanton. I think he's thinking of placing it elsewhere, but I think you still have to do it on the Vanton. Does go for the other unit. Do you also let it explode? Does let it explode. Ooh, takes it out on the turn with the dot itself. Yep, once again landing on everything, and we're gonna go for counters. Once again, counters, counters, counters. But this is also where it's dangerous that the Vanton is not fully reset. The Vanton still takes 2 turns. Could still be dangerous. Oh, but this Rakan is really sitting comfortable with all of those collapses going in. Yeah, as long as like every time, yeah, it's countering on every hit possible. Plus we have this skill back right now. Vanton is on the line, and that will be a victory for Big V right there. I don't really see a comeback coming from here. Yeah, this is definitely going to be very difficult to come back from this position. Yep, simply ain't happening. Rakan is too strong, and there we have the victory towards Big V. One more match. Big V. Man, Big V definitely has potential for doing very well in America's Cup as well. Like, he's showcasing very strong in this meta. But then again, America's Cup, that is a good 8 months from now, 10 months from now. Still will take some time for us to get there. That's already December. A good 8 months, yeah. So curious to see what's going to be on the finals. Finals also, once again, is a best of 3, so we'll have some more adaptability to the draft. But the Sonya of Kanjing is super, super strong. But it's also a meta where Vanton is that popular. Vanton is already anti-Sonya. Then you have Megumi is anti-Sonya. Ooh, we also have coupon codes over here. Coupon codes, boys. Always want to go for those kind of things. So free goodies from us to you guys. We actually got Big C against Big V. From 16 players all the way down to 2. Yeah, let's see what these 2 gentlemen can do on this final match right here. And then also, we came down from 16 players. The day went fast. But that's also with best of ones. Best of ones, they go really fast. But it's also quite fast-paced for like going into next players, next rounds, and all of those things. Let's see what we have for the pre-bans. On one side, we have the player that mainly goes for That's an interesting one. We got the Water Jack being banned. That's a 4-star unit. Maybe that's some kind of inside joke. I'm not 100% sure. Gian on the first pick. Other side also comfortable fast picks with the Megumi and a Shiho. Let's see what Big V likes to answer against that. Common counter, Josephine into double stunts. Makes a lot of sense. Then we go more sustained style. Ooh, it's kind of sustained, but also super strong counter into a Shiho. Because the Song of Destiny, third skill of Vivachel does not care about invisibility, so therefore Shiho takes a turn, Vivachel takes the turn after, and then Shiho has no HP left. But that's always the question, can you actually get that full rotation off? Ooh, Angela. Interesting position for an Angela right there. Not too sure about that. Definitely is trying to follow in the Bruiser steps. But is it a great fit over there? That's the big question. Dark Hacker is good into the Phantom, but outside of the Phantom, not that great. And once again, a Coco. I've seen a fair bit of Cocos. Let's see, final pick. What is it gonna be? I could see a world where you could maybe Federica or Sonya. But is that good enough though? And are you gonna kill? Like, that's the big question. Like, everything on the side of Big V is potentially pretty tanky. NFL for an last pick. Okay. That's seemingly a ban on that Hacker then. Because NFL does provide 2 debuffs by itself. Yep, Hacker ban, other side, Angela ban. Angela's actually respected. Does not want to play against the sustain. And again, I would say that Angela's probably not that great in this. Okay, let's see when Vivachel does take its turn. Or can you simply stun the Vivachel? Vivachel mostly is 100 res. So is this a high Ag Monkey? Nope, we're gonna go for the hits on this Coco. Question, where do you want to land this S2? Ooh, does not connect, so can potentially go for stun on Gianna. Does get the 50-50 on the stun on the Gianna. I'm not too sure about that slow, because that slow, well, if you're gonna push back anyways, then it doesn't matter as much. Good damage coming in. You definitely want to be healing off your Gianna, I would say. Yep, heals the Gianna. Additional turn. Ooh, that additional turn, that's a very dominant target sitting right there. You don't have your... I think you have to do it, yeah. This is your one position where it's so good to do it. And your Gianna will move in front of this NFL. Bomb on this. 75 checker. 75 checker did actually succeed. Also, did not manage to kill off this event hunters yet. Ooh, but no stuns on this Josephine. Additional turn, but stun sitting in process. Oh, you really want to use this to stun off the Shiho, but you have to connect your kill. It's way too risky to not connect your kill. Good additional turn. No stuns, however, though. Death Break sitting on the Josephine. That's a very dominant target for this. 5k per hit. Yep, that's some good damage coming in. Also, no stunts. No stunts, so therefore does not take the turn. Yep, I think Big Z is actually going to take it. Yeah, definitely working out very well. In the end, I would say that Coco fell a little bit off. Like, the Coco into the light Huareng makes a lot of sense. But here's nothing really particular that you want to take out. So in the end, the only actual potential kill that was made was by the Vivachel. All of the other units could not really connect their skills as much. Gianna does have the bomb though. But Gianna attack break bomb is gonna do near to nothing. Plus no skill 3 available. Still no skill 3 available. Yep, another round of death breaks. And that is a very dead Gianna right there. And I can't see it. And the victory goes to Big C. Let's see for pre-bans. Even with a troll pre-ban, we even had the troll pre-ban in there, and it still went for a victory. Let's see what we can take over from this match right here. Definitely taking the time with the pre-bans. Either we're looking for a fun unit or we're actually banning something real. That's the big question. Khan. Okay. Interesting. Big V is also like, if I'm not having first pick, you're not having Gianna. So far also, Big C is not really being contested on his Shiho, and his Shiho is doing really good. The Megumi Shiho combination is definitely showing potential. Kovaci. We have seen that Kovaci dominate combo once, but it's definitely like, is it enabled enough where you can actually do it? Megumi kicking in once again. Who do we like to pair with as Megumi this time around? Veladjul, interesting. Definitely go for the counters. Gianna's not available, so that makes sense. Could see a world where Big V goes, hey gang, ooh, goes back to the Inosuke super fast. Josephine in last match really did not participate. First Aya of the day with Nobara. Haven't seen any of those yet. Normally you tend to see a lot of Ayas into Vandhans and Laylas. I've seen a good bit of Laylas, but not that many Nobaras now. Let's see what the last pick is. You definitely have to be looking at some kind of strip, but if you go strip right now, you have to go something so strong that if your Vandhan is banned, it doesn't matter. Dominic could definitely be an option for that. Sonya, makes sense. But then you have to be banning speed lead. Nobaras can be death tanks. So then the question is, what can you actually take out? Like an Angela, you're definitely not going to kill in one shot. Nobara could be death tank. It's also not easy to kill. I think you have to ban out the Megami though. But on the other side, ban on Vandal? No, we're respecting the Angela once again. Interesting. Let's see how much this Nobara can do though. But also if the Veladjul gets one Sanctuary off, match is over. Stun on Vandal? Yes sir, we do get stun on the Vandal. Okay. Are we gonna stun the Kovaci? Good choice to actually hold the skill. Use it for a later stun on the Vandhan. Understandable. Ooh, trying to stun that. Understandable. Also, the Aya's kind of awkward if you put Sanctuary up. Aya's never gonna get stripped or anything right now, so she's kind of useless. Ooh, the additional turn. The additional turn right there, though. Yeah, I think the match is over already. No, well, we still have a strip, though. But actually did not strip the Aya. That is huge. That is actually really huge, not stripping the Aya. Not stripping the one unit you don't want to strip. But I don't really see the damage on the side of Big V right now. Oh, stop. Do we additional turn? No additional turn, nope. I think, oh, it's death broken. You can go for an S2, S1 just takes it out. I think match is over. There's no way you deal any damage right now. Josephine doesn't have enough damage. And even if you start having enough damage, you still have the issue with the Nobara late game. No strip on the immunity though. Good damage on this monkey, however. Josephine does do some good damage on the attack break. Still have the hairpin. Ooh, full missing. 2 times wrong, or 2 times wrong unit. Stunts, not connecting. Trying everything to take out this monkey before its next alter ego skill. If you get a 2-turn provoke, does get the 2-turn provoke, will be sanctuaried after though. However, the hit that it provided was nice. Round of strips, good timing. Strips everything, pushes back the monkey. Do you go for an S2? I would go for an S2 on the monkey, so you're guaranteed to kill it on the hit with the Josephine later. Ooh, was stunned but was taken out right after. Does not work out. Also resistance, high resistance on Kovacic is always. But I just don't really see how you're going to be killing off a Nobara late. Like, even if you make it super late game in this fight, maybe that Josephine starts rocking in that much damage. In the end, she is attack scaling. Ooh, yeah, that's forcing in the stun. That's doing a lot of damage later on. Well, Josephine is still slowly rocking in the damage, plus Josephine's shields will deny a lot of the HP down. Josephine might actually still have this. Josephine is showing why Josephine is that strong. Yep, the shields, the semi-sustain of the shields is actually working well. The big question is, yeah, I'm not sure about trying to connect those stuns though. Like, the stuns were giving Josephine too many shields. If you played it without stuns, I think you would have had a better match. Plus then at some point you can steal the attack buff. But we're going for a 1-to-1. Well, let's see what we have for pre-bans this time around. Do we go fun pre-ban one more time? Is an option. Shiho and Vivagel. Fanton, makes sense. Still a good, comfortable first pick. Shiho's gone, so the Megumi-Shiho combo is not there. Then we go for an NFL. Could see an option for Gianna right now. Inosuke, Kovaci, comfortable units. Nope, actually not. Taking it away. Going for the Gianna. Gianna and Inosuke together, I don't really like the combo. That Angela is every time banned out. Maybe it's something I don't know, but the Angela is so many times banned. Or, yeah. Probably is 100 resistance to counter this Phantom. That could be a thing. And if you have a lot of shield, Phantom would kind of kill itself, maybe. Oh, that's a lot of shields right there. Ooh, we have a Dark Megumi plus a Light Nina. Big V rocking in the collab LBs. Liking the style, but not sure if it's going to be good enough. Let's see what Big C has as a counterplay. More. Ooh, okay. Well, that's an Inosuke ban for sure. But then again, Big V has 3 AoE strips. You could ban out the Moore, you could ban out the Josephine. I think I would ban out the Josephine though. Gianna would do good. Yep. This is one of those positions where you don't even want to use Inosuke skill 3. I think you should just straight up just do a skill 1 on the Megumi. Wait, is that Gianna slower? Yeah, Gianna's slower than the Vendhan. Interesting. That was quite a debate. If you would have banned this Inosuke, the Gianna would have been really off. You have to push back this Annabelle right now. Can you actually manage this? does manage to push back the NFL. That's huge. Plus silence. I think match is over right now. If this Moore doesn't take additional turn, Nina cleans the battlefield. This Gianna is actually moving last. This Gianna was such a bait. That's so much damage from this Light Nina. That is GG. Light Nina is so good. Wow. That is so much damage on all of those debuffs. Yeah, this match is super over. Wow. But also, how bait was that Gianna there, though? Well, I guess he had two other AoE strips. He had either the Inosuke for the strip or he had the Megumi for the strip. So either or, he would have had that. Wow. Very well played. Very well played. Interesting match to see. Also, interesting to see, like, Light Nina was not played at all. She was, like, pretty much unit of the match in that final one. She did so much damage. Wow. Definitely a unit that I would like to get myself as well. It's just simply so much damage after a lot of CC kind of style. Plus it has that speed lead. It's just 21, but still something. And we have Big V as the winner, which also does round up this whole tournament for today. That went fast. It was fun to watch. Also the best of ones. Best of ones is definitely one of those things. On one hand, I'm like, you don't really get to see that much from certain players, but because of that, you can also add a lot more players to the pool. So for like fun tournaments like this, I like it. For an SWC, I would say I don't like best of ones. Also for like European League or American Summit or any of those, would not like best of ones, but for fun tournaments like these, best of ones, yeah, it's actually kind of fun. Get to see a lot of players. But also, Big C did not really know the guy that well, but he brought it really far today. And of course Big V, but I know Big V is OP. I definitely give him good odds to be winning America's Cup again. Especially with the units that he added in right now. Light Nina and stuff. Definitely very strong.
感谢我们今天所有的选手们，给我们带来了一场又一场这么热血又精彩的对决。那么现在就进入了我们的颁奖环节。有请 Come to Us 中国区总经理朴永熙先生上台为我们的季军颁奖，掌声有请。 有请我们的季军林少和康静上台，我们的 coser 小姐姐把礼物呈上。掌声欢呼起来，让我们再一次恭喜他们俩。好，下面有请广东省电子竞技运动协会副会长兼秘书长罗觉慧女士登台，为我们的选手颁奖。掌声有请。掌声可以再热烈一点啊！ 首先颁发的是我们的亚军大海，掌声有请大海上台。大海的粉丝在哪里啊 ？OK， 由罗女士为他颁这个奖。嗯。 好，请罗女士留步。 最后，请准备好大家所有的欢呼，有请我们的冠军大 V 尤罗女士为她加冕皇者之冠。欢呼声在哪里？ 好，请留步。现在有请我们现场所有的召唤师们上台合影留念，让我们记住今天这一个精彩时刻。好，我们所有的召唤师们。